Look at that. We are live. Hoi there, everyone. Good evening. How's it going? Hope everyone's doing well tonight. Hope everyone's looking forward to my first ever Fire Emblem stream. So yes, officially welcome to Fire Emblem Fates. Going back to where it all started with Fire Emblem. Well, not where it really started for Fire Emblem on my channel, but where Fire Emblem started taking off on my channel, so to speak. Good evening to Essex and to Luca, I think I also saw in the chat. Good evening to Panda as well. I am currently seeing if the stream is all good. I think, do tell me if, like, everything sounds good. I'm currently seeing, like, an error message, I think, for the chat, so I'm going to try to fix that real quick. But let me know if the sound and the vision is all good, I suppose. There it is. Now the chat is working. I think it's being cut off. Hold on, let me fix that. Good evening, Nico. Dobry wieczór. Welcome. Welcome to Fire Emblem Fates. Some Inazuma 11 people streaming over from to Fire Emblem. That's actually pretty interesting. You'd like to see that. Let me fix the chat box real quick, because I think I cut it off, which is not what I'm supposed to do. Well. Would you look at that? Now that looks a bit batchy, doesn't it? Okay, now we got... Yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, look at that. We're fixing this in real time. Because, believe it or not, I may finally be understanding what I'm doing, streaming-wise. So that's pretty hype. Let me actually cut it off right there, though, so it looks, like, decent. Okay, there we go. We're migrating. All the Inazuma people are migrating. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so it looks like the chat box has been fixed. That is good. I really tried my best to make this look good. I mean, I looked at the footage, like I tried a trial recording to see how everything looks. I think the gameplay is not as crisp as I would like it to be. It is running at 60 FPS, actually. Would you believe it? 3DS game running at 60 FPS. Thanks to the wonderful HD Fates mod, of course. But yeah, that's good. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Fire Emblem Fates Birthright. As it says in the description, as it says in the thumbnail, Hinata solo run. Or at the very least, I'm going to try. I'm going to try my best to make it happen. Welcome, Yami. Good evening. Good to have you. Good to have our lovely moderator for the evening here. Yeah, Hinata solo run. Fire Emblem Fates Birthright. Lunatic difficulty. Lunatic classic, of course, because my mama didn't raise a bitch, as they say in the lovely English language. Let's see. Where do we start? Well, I think I should start with a few ground rules. A few small base rules that they've carried over from the original Hinata solo run, right? But I'm just gonna run through them real quick. So obviously we got no castle visits, no skill buying. I'm pretty sure it's not possible with the version of Fates I'm running, but just to be safe. No DLC or path bonus items, so we're not going to be running Dreadfight or anything, or Dark Falcon, so no, that's not going to happen, just as a preface. My castle drops are allowed. In fact, I will be hoping for my castle drops, a few good ones. And pair-ups other than Corrin are allowed, but only for support grinding. They are not allowed during main maps, during main story maps, which I think makes quite a bit of sense, given this is a Hinata solo run. So I'm going to be trying to do this with as much as I can, with as little characters as I can. Hinata and Corrin, mainly, obviously. Castle walls, yes, there are castle walls here. So if you think about it, Fire Emblem Fates and Inazuma 11 Victory Road are really not that far apart. You're not wrong. But okay, we are going to be Hinata-ing a lot tonight, Luca. A lot, hopefully. Well, we first have to get Hinata, because where we currently are, I am currently at the cusp of Chapter 9, which is where Hinata joins. So I've done you the courtesy of, skipping through the entirety of the Branch of Fate. Everything pre-Branch of Fate, really. And through Chapter 6, 7, and 8. So we are currently at Chapter 9, the Land of Gods. So we are Hinata-less for the time being, but we will get there soon. He is going to be joining in this chapter, of course, this upcoming chapter. Now we got a few rules for Corrin as well, or Aoi as she's called in this run. Let me actually pull her up for you. Here she is. This is my lovely Corrin for this run. She's on the little screen up there, so you can't see her that clearly. But actually, I can just hold on. Yeah, we got touchscreen. We can do this. There we go. Well, now she's a dragon, but that's our Corrin. This is Aoi. I'm very original because I called her Aoi because she has blue hair, but I thought she looked pretty cool. Don't mind that she has the exact same face as Fuyumi from the original Hinata solo run. But Corrin here, Aoi, she cannot dual strike, so what that means is I cannot separate Corrin from Hinata once I'm paired up with Hinata. Of course, again, this is all stuff that you've most likely seen in the original Hinata solo run. Corrin also cannot initiate combat, of course, Hinata solo run. She can trigger Dragon Veins. That is one thing that I will allow her to do. With, of course, the caveat as well that in the process she can take, you know, she can defend herself. So she's not going to be weaponless. She can be in combat as long as she doesn't initiate it, but I'm going to go out of my way to not have her face combat, obviously. And, of course, finally, she can reclass. In fact, I think it's rather essential, rather fundamental to actually beating this game with only Hinata. She needs to reclass, so she is able to, as per the rules of this run. And then finally, the new rule for this run specifically is that Hinata, our main guy for this run, obviously, he can only initiate combat on main story maps. And this is important. He can only initiate combat on main story maps as the Samurai or Swordmaster class. So what that means, in scout maps, he can be a different class. And I think, really, that's going to be pretty necessary, since we're going to need skills that are not inherent to the Swordmaster family of classes, of course. So that is the basic idea. Those are the rules that I've come up with. And Weeb Hinata arc, I suppose. I suppose so, Asic, yes. But he's going to be the purest version of himself, so to speak, because, of course, he comes as a samurai, and as such, he logically promotes to a Swordmaster. Now, of course, no one ever does that, because you have Ryoma in this game. But it's okay. In this run, we're going to prove that Hinata is superior to Ryoma in every single way, actually. But with that being said, there's not really much to do prior to really starting Chapter 9, to be honest. I went through all the rules, introduced you to our Corrin for this run that you're going to be seeing quite a lot. Aside from that, none of these characters we are going to be using once we recruit Hinata. So here's a pretty important thing as well. In the next chapter, in Chapter 9, obviously I cannot do everything with Corrin. I probably could in theory, but I will be using all of these characters that you see on screen right now, as long as I have not recruited Hinata. The moment we recruit Hinata, all of these characters are not going to be initiating combat. Again, does not mean they cannot fight, but they cannot initiate combat any longer. So with that being said, I'm not going to take any weapons off them either, because I will actually need them to have stuff. So that being said, we have the goat size already. But of course, we don't have the greatest goats. We don't have Hinata quite yet. Now, maybe I should get like... I feel like I should get like a little memento. I should get like a little thing to amp up my spirits. Here's my W Hinata card. I think this is going to be the lucky charm for this run. It's the first Hinata card I got. He's going to be sitting right here with Hoshi from Inazuma 11 Victory Road. That's going to be a neuron activation for the Inazuma 11 players. But okay. With that being said, there's a few things we can do in my castle, of course. I'm going to be trying to limit the time in my castle as well. No one really likes being in... Well, people like being in my castle. My castle is a good hub area. But first thing we can do, first thing we're going to do on stream is gamble. We're going to try to get a good item. If we get a silver ball, I think that's the best you could do at this level. Which we don't. Classic Hana stuff. But it is what it is. Probably an ore or beans. Beans are good, actually. We're going to have to really make good use of all the resources we get. Unfortunately, on this seed, I did not get the greatest rolls for the materials and the minerals. I got a quartz spring, which I'm decently certain quartz is used to upgrade daggers and shuriken, and I got a daikon garden, which daikon improves resistance when baked into a dish, so it's not the greatest. It's not the greatest roll, admittedly, especially compared to the original Hinata solo run, which was honestly a crazy roll, because I'm pretty sure I got a fish pond and I got a pearl spring, which is awesome. Holy fucking shit, what is that currency? And well, Jesus Christ, thank you for donating already. Carbol, welcome, and thank you so much, mate. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm seeing someone liking that. I absolutely love that. There you go. Give that a little heart. Thank you so much. Wow, that's awesome. Okay. 100 Rs. Yeah. I don't really know what that is, but I love that. I love that. Let's see. So we have gambled. The materials, the minerals, Daikon Garden, yes, which is not the greatest, but at the very least it is, I guess it's not like... Well, actually, it's kind of the worst thing we could have gotten, not gonna lie. Well, Peach would have been worse, I suppose, since that ups magic, so don't love that. But okay. That's a great first thing to get. Obviously, this, yeah, we got a hoe. So that's great. That's a great first thing to pull. We got Saizo and Tsubaki interacting, W. You can use the Daikon to give all your units sick wooden backpacks in the accessory shop. Oh, the apothecary backpack, yeah. Well, there is an accessory that I'm going to want to get, I think. It's not going to be that, but there is going to be one that I want to get for Hinata. But, yeah, let's feed Lilith. So, for those of you who don't know Fire Emblem Fates, or who don't know Fire Emblem at all, this is Lilith. She is a dragon that helps us defend our castle during certain maps. She's not a playable character, but you can feed her to increase her level and get her more stats, essentially. Yo, Yura, welcome. Good evening. Welcome to the stream. Good to have you here. Okay. And then I think, yeah, there's a few amenities in the castle, of course. You have the mineral springs, and you have the food fields or yards or whatever you have. And, of course, you have the private quarters. Private quarters, a little bit of a controversial one, especially in the Japanese version of the game. In the English version of the game, it's pretty tame, since you just invite someone to your room, you have a little talk, they say a line or two, and then, yeah, that's that. Your support rank improves, essentially. That's all it is. But, let's see. Who do we want to invite? I think I have a clue as to who people want to invite. I think Azura is probably one of the more popular ones. I have a support building with Jacob, but that's just because he's really useful early game with Evasive Partner. Let's invite Azura. I do like Azura. So here's the thing. With the HD Fates mod, they did improve all the renders. They improved all the models. What they did not improve is the voice lines. In fact, when the voice line starts here, you're going to hear a little bit of an audio glitch. That's going to happen every single time we invite someone over into our my quarters. So, it's that. And this is essentially what the my quarters stuff is, right? The private quarters. But yeah, the little audio glitch that you heard there, the little static, that will happen every single time we invite someone to the private quarters. But okay, we also have, what we still have is we have one Dragon Vein point, and what that does, it allows us to build a new structure. So the thing that's going to be really useful early on is the smithy, I think. The smithy is one of the more useful things, as it allows you to upgrade weapons. Now what that means is you need minerals for that, and since we're going to be running a Swordmaster, which is locked to swords, obviously, and we're going to need a lot of pearls. Pearls are the mineral that you use to upgrade swords. I was very lucky to actually find one in the My Castle earlier while I was trying to get up to Chapter 9. Otherwise, it would have been a bit of an uphill battle with the minerals. Yes. Though, in the smithy you can exchange minerals for others. Okay, so, that being said, again, someone let me know if everything is working well, if the sound is good, if you can see everything all right. I'm pretty sure it should be. Also, interesting maneuver. Holy shit, man. Hey, welcome. Good evening. Thank you for joining in the stream, mate. Okay, but I think with that, it is time to get to it. I think it's time to get to Chapter 9, Land of Gods, and we try to recruit my boy Hinata, our boy Hinata. So let's get started. Now, of course, everyone loves the story of Fire Emblem Fates. So, while I would love to show it off to everyone, I think that it's just a little too peak to start the evening off with. So, let's actually just skip through it and get right to the gameplay. I think that's a better idea. Okay, here we are. So, here is the Land of Gods. This is the map that we have to contend with. Now, we're playing on Lunatic difficulty, as I said before. So what that means is that these are going to be filled with enemies, these maps. basically we're going to have the max enemy number on these maps. The max enemy cap is 50. Currently we're at 37, so that should give a pretty decent indication of how difficult this mode really is. Especially Birthright Lunatic. It's very infamous for just implementing difficulty through enemy spam, especially towards the end of the game, but we're going to see that later. So Hinata and Obro are going to spawn right here, I'm pretty sure. And we're going to have to sit out a few turns until they do. So I remember this chapter gave me quite a lot of trouble when I tried this the first time. But I now know that Hinoka with the guard Naginata is absolutely essential on this map. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to try to put Hinata up... Hinoka. They start with the same syllable, so my bad. I'm going to put Hinoka up front. And I think probably what I want to try and do is up her defense as much as possible so she can hold off the fort. What's also pretty essential is that Hinoka doesn't get sniped by these bows. So I'm going to have to choke this point before I put Hinoka out there. And I need to bait the mages on the sides. That's essentially all that we have to do. Let's see how we start off with that. Now, unfortunately, we're going to have to use Kaze for a little bit. But it is what it is. It is what it is. It's a necessary evil, but we're definitely going to use Saizo for a bit as well. So everyone else, I think, just goes into the middle. Especially Hinoka, who I don't want to be touching any bows anytime soon. Kaze Gaming. Yeah, I'm seeing that. I'm seeing Kaze is so awesome. Yeah, I'm sure. He's going to be really cool until chapter 15. Let's see. And then Hana with Silas, and then I think that should probably be fine. The others should be able to just take refuge in the middle somewhere once we start moving these guys out. So, okay. There's nothing else really for it except to give it a good old try. I was supposed to be Hinata-ing it, but as you might have noticed, I do not have Hinata yet, Nico, so that's why. But okay, let's give it the old college try. Let's see what we can do here. So, again, what we do is I try to bait out the mages on the sides here by just having Saizo and Kaze behind the walls. Various items and weapons in this game can attack through walls, as is the case in most Fire Emblem games. As is the case for shuriken, bows, and magic in this game specifically. But, let's see. So, like I said, I'm going to try to choke off the first portion here. I'm going to try to not have too many people target Fuyumi, so... That's not Fuyumi, that's Aoi, different character now. So I'm going to try to just put her here, give her the Dragonstone, and then, yeah, see, some space opens up. So what we also have is... We have some space to put one character behind Aoi and Rinka. So I can just put someone there with high defense, which I guess Silas does decently well. And then we put the other two in the middle here so they don't get targeted. And this is the old college try. This is what we're going to try to do. Now, one thing that's really good about Fate's gameplay is, first and foremost, the music. Second of all, it is the pair-up mechanic, which they brought over from Awakening. So it works essentially in the same way. You have dual stance, which is this. This is the defensive stance, the dual stance. And you have the dual strike, which is when two characters are next to each other on the map, but they are not paired up physically. Both of these have different properties. The dual stance, which is this, it fills up a little shield meter, which you can see right above Aoi's weapon, above the Dragonstone. Which is going to be filled up. It's going to turn blue here on Saizo once he's done attacking. What that means is the support unit, in this case Sakura, will block any incoming hit, no matter what the damage is. So this means that essentially Kaze and Saizo are going to be able to take a free hit without taking any damage on the next round of combat. Now it's looking pretty good here. The first setup is pretty decent. What I'm going to have to be careful for is that Hinata and Obro, who are going to be joining on this map, they're going to be green units. And the thing about green units is that they're pretty stupid. At least in Lunatic difficulty. They certainly do not, function very well with the design of this map. Which is essentially, they're going to join behind this line of cavaliers at the bottom here. They're going to join somewhere around here. And they're going to be green units, and they're going to be unmoving. But these guys, these Cavaliers, they will target Obro and Hinata when they actually spawn onto the map. So we're going to have to try to get there before that happens. What we're also going to try to have to do is take out as many mages as possible here. Preferably some of the stronger ones. Most of these mages will just have copy-pasted stats, but... Okay, unironically, Kaze is kind of popping off. First with that level, and now with the 2% crit. So, I give him a lot of shit. I'm gonna keep doing that, but that was a pretty good rally, not gonna lie. Okay. Saize will take this one out. And then that's already a lot of pressure off our backs. And a level for Saizo as well. Now, this doesn't really matter. It is a beautiful level, though. Speed, defense, strength, HP. That's what we love to see on Saizo. And he gets Poison Strike. Now, this is what we're going to be aiming for most of the characters. Well, for Hinata primarily, of course. Level 10, you get a skill. You get a class skill. Every class joins with a class-specific skill. And at level 10, they get a second skill that is specific to that class. And it works like that for advanced classes, too. Except for advanced classes, you have to wait for level 5 and level 15, respectively. I'm decently sure. But they are, of course, much stronger in return. Kaze's top 5 units in all of Fates? I don't know about that one, Chief. I don't know about that one. Look, I appreciate the money you donated, right? But I don't know if I can get on board with that. Not gonna lie. Okay, so here's the thing. Now we have to get rid of these guys, and I would really love to get rid of some of the archers so I can bring Hinoka out. Now, we can bring that into effect pretty easily. We can just attack with Aoi for now. And she's going to take some damage, because with a sword, she is definitely not as tanky as she is with the Dragonstone, of course. Dragonstone gives a shit ton of stats. It gives, yeah, plus 10 dodge and plus 4 defense, plus 3 resistance, respectively. So it is really good for actually defensive attacks. But, yeah, Saizo is where it's at. Exactly, Ura. Let's see here. So I want to heal, ideally. What that means is I will have to... I think bring out... Like, I have to take Silas away for a second. What I can do is I can start bringing Hinoka out here. Now, she doesn't do a whole lot of damage with the Guard Naginata. So, actually, maybe it's in our best interest not to do that yet. What I can try is attack with Silas here. And if I can guarantee that no one reaches Silas, then I think that should actually be a pretty safe move to do. So again, ideally I want to take out some of the archers, so I'm going to try a 68%. Silas gaming with the javelin, and surely Silas always hits his javelins, so yeah. Good old reliable Silas. Now with 3 HP, of course, he cannot take any more hits. He's going to be screwed if he does. But what I want to do now... See, now it becomes a little bit more difficult, because now I have to start making choices. But the Guard Naginata on Hinoka is going to guarantee that she can live at least 1 bow hit, I'm pretty sure. I don't want to try, ideally. But I will need Hinoka to choke this point for the time being. And what that also entails, I think I'm going to have Silas tank a hit. Which should be fine. He should live against 2 rounds of bows. He should also live against 1 magic attack. And also, I really want to... I should have bought Vulneraries, you know? I really should have bought Vulneraries before I started this this map, not gonna lie. That's the one thing I forgot, I have to imagine. What I want is... Okay, Azura can take 1 magic hit. She absolutely can. So I'm gonna have Saizo move out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would say that if he could go anywhere useful, not gonna lie. Maybe Kaze is more useful to take out the mage. Either way, I think the situation should be, like, it should be fine to handle. Okay, so these guys can team up against Azura, so I don't want to try that. Okay, Saizo can take on... It also can team up. Let's try Jacob, actually. Let's try Jacob. Jacob can take 1 bow hit as well. So let's see. Azura level up. It's a pretty good level. Of course, Azura is going to become irrelevant as soon as we actually, as soon as we get Hinata here, but it is what it is. So let me test my theory and see if Hinoka can live one bow hit with the Guard Naginata. Which I'm decently sure she can. So there it is. There's the guard stance in full effect. Just nullified an 8 damage attack just like that. So that's what the majority of this run is also going to come down to. Pair-ups are going to be essential in this run. As they were in the original Hinata solo run, because Hinata on his own would get absolutely swamped by all the enemies you have to encounter later on in the game. Okay, let's see. So we have an archer coming in here. This is a very useful guard stance. Cavaliers are no joke, especially not in Lunatic. Early game Lunatic, they are pretty tough to deal with. So yeah, if we did not have the guard stance here, Kaze would have been pretty likely to die. Now he just misses a 73, but that's okay because he lives and that's what matters. So we got the Cavaliers coming out already. That's pretty useful. It means they're less likely to come for Hinata and Oboro once they do spawn. But they are all targeting Hinoka, which I don't love because she needs as much HP as possible to hopefully tank this bow. Which if she can tank it, which she does, that's enough. It's just enough. That was very close. I think if there's no one else that can reach Hinoka, we should be decent for the time being. Okay, there they are. There he is. Jeez. There's my goat. There he is. We love him. Hinata is here, together with Oboro. There they are. These are the best retainers in Fire Emblem Fates, by the way. Here we got the two goats of Fire Emblem Fates, Hinata and Oboro. So like I said, they're going to be green units. They're going to be spawning right there. And in fact, they are going to move. But they don't attack. That's the thing. They don't attack. They do get attacked, but they don't attack back. Which sucks. Like, let me put that up first. It fucking sucks, actually. And I'm gonna have to play this pretty carefully, since I can't be having any of these guys die. And again, I really should have bought vulneraries, but I didn't, so this is the situation we're in right now. Which is fine. I think Saizo can take out this mage, which is a useful start. It also doesn't help that I paired up all of my healers with an actual unit. But that's okay. The Cavaliers do not have 2 range, so I think if we take out all the 2 range that's just here, we should be pretty alright. So for example, if I start with healing Aoi, I think is a pretty solid first move, not gonna lie. This bow's not able to reach Saizo, so that's the most scary part. Okay, I really needed Aoi to kill here, not gonna lie, so that is not great. I'm gonna see if I can do anything else. Silas almost got there, but it's not enough. So what do I do there? Do I bank on something? No, I think what I do is I retreat, I think, for now. I'm gonna try to heal Hinoka, and then next turn we're gonna try to use her a bit more. So Dragonstone, because she takes absolutely no damage with the Dragonstone. Now what Fuyumi also has is Dragon Fang. If she procs Dragon Fang, then she deals an extra 50%, which would be huge. It's not happening currently, but Silas is actually able to help with the Javelin through the wall. If he hits this, which Silas is always reliable. Reliable Silas with the reliable Javelin. It's beautiful. So there's a Silas level, which if he gets extra defense, that's very useful. He can maybe distract a few more hits, but ideally I don't have him take a lot more than what he has taken currently. So these guys all have Javelins, but the good thing is only one unit can actually focus him at this time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Jacob heal Saizo, so he doesn't die to a Javelin hit. And I'm going to get Kaze out of here. I might actually just weaken this Cavalier on the side. That's a pretty important thing to do right here. And now I think we should be pretty good. Granted that the Cavaliers actually go for Aoi, which would be the ideal scenario. I don't think they will. I think 2 of them will start going for Oboro. Yeah, Silas can take this bow. That's fine. In a fight, obviously. So this is a decent start. This is honestly going a lot better than I thought it would. So they start attacking Hinata, which is exactly what I said. These Cavaliers, they will start going for Hinata and Oboro. Now, fortunately, knock wood, It looks like they are mostly focusing on Aoi for the time being. There's only one of them going for Hinata. But if a second one starts going for Hinata, or starts going for Oboro rather, the first one that just swooped in is able to actually dual strike Hinata on the next turn. So let's hope that doesn't happen. They're currently all bunching up around Aoi, around the entrance, so that's pretty good. What's not pretty good is, again, that that Hinata and Oboro don't attack. So don't love that, but we are able to really relieve ourselves of a lot of pressure here once we start taking out... hold on. Once we start taking out the Cavaliers around here. So it's a good thing they stuck around these walls, because now Saizo can just snipe one. That's one. If Silas is reliable, and I know he is, that's my boy. I know he is. Okay, actually I'm not going to try that, but I think Kaze... Ooh, would Kaze be able? 5 defense, 15 attack. Should be enough, even with the triangle disadvantage. Let's see. That's not enough. Okay, that's fine. I think this is looking pretty decent. What I could do is just take out the bow with Aoi, which I think is a pretty solid option, to be honest. Okay, that's good. Having the bows out of the way is really useful. Silas could probably get it with the +3 speed, skill, luck from Azura. That is certainly a possibility. However, I want to keep Azura for the dance, or the sing, for her sing skill, obviously. I want to move as many characters as I can during these turns, since the pressure is really building. Okay, so there's also a lot of Cavaliers who just don't have Javelins, so we're going to have to prioritize taking out the Cavaliers with Javelins. And let me see. I think what I want to do is probably heal Silas again. Need that. And then I can dance Saizo. Saizo's pretty good at this, since he has a lot of defense as well. And if we take out this mage, that should just up our chances even further. So the mages are going to be the hardest hitters in the early game because we don't have a lot of resistance. We don't have high resistance units. Like even Orochi, who is like, okay, we have Kaze. Kaze is actually our highest resistance unit as the resistance ninja of this game. But yeah, obviously we can't rely on Kaze alone. And again, we have to be careful for all the different Cavaliers that have Javelins. Now, it's only one of them for the time being. And I really want them to keep focusing on Aoi, ideally. At most, she gets hit by 4, which sounds bad, but she can guaranteed block 1. I think she should live this no matter what. Which means that I can have Silas move elsewhere, ideally. I don't love those chances, to be completely honest. And I don't love that either. So, what is the situation then? Do we just wait? I think the situation is we just kind of wait. I can always take a pot shot at this Cavalier, obviously. Korn will kill him upon retaliation, most likely. Unfortunately, the Javelins are not always as reliable as I would like them to be. But that having been said, I think this is about the best setup we can have currently. The hope is that they don't dual strike Hinata. Which, even so, I think he should live 1 round of dual strike. So yeah, Korn's taking 3 hits. At most, I'm pretty sure. Which, yeah, it is pretty bad for the time being, but the early stage of this map is just devastating. Okay, she's going to take a bit more, not gonna lie. You hate to see that. But now she's gonna block 1. And those guys do a lot of damage. I think this might be GG, not gonna lie. Especially if they have iron lances. I do not recall them doing this much damage before. They walked away from Hinata, but at what cost? Yeah, that's GG. So that's gonna have to be a reset. So this map is panning out exactly as I expected it to. This is exactly how it went the first time, unfortunately. But that was a pretty solid first attempt. Now, here's the thing. I just didn't have vulneraries. Once I have vulneraries, yeah, the +2 defense from Rinka was doing a lot of work. Even though, you know, the Dragonstone gives +2 defense. But it's okay, it's okay. This is trial and error. The first chapter here is a lot of trial and error. And that's okay. What I really need to do is, again, buy vulneraries. So I'm going to quickly exit. I'm just going to buy a few vulneraries at the rod shop. I have a shit ton of money. So I can just buy a bunch. So we have concoctions. Let me get all 3 concoctions, 1800. And let me just stock up on vulnerary so everyone has at least 1. Let me get 10 of these bad boys. And I think that should be good. Let me also get a heart seal before I forget, because I'm going to need that early on. And a master seal as well. Not both of them, but this should be fine. I'm surprised you didn't use Rinka against the calf since she has color advantage. Yeah, but here's the thing. Rinka is really, really ass as a unit. Not gonna lie. Like, the triangle advantage, yes, it matters, but it doesn't matter as much as you'd think. Also, I would do res defense tonics. Actually, it's not a bad idea for Aoi specifically. Just so she can tank a bit more up front. Let me do that. Let me get a defense tonic and a resistance tonic. For the rest, I think it should be fine to go without. But yeah, for the time being. Let me also quickly have a look at the Dawn Armory. I don't think there's anything like especially useful in here currently. Like, there's some spirits, but I don't really need them. Buying them would kind of be a waste. An Iron Shuriken, though? Iron Shuriken, because currently Saizo's rocking out with a steel one and a brass one. This would unironically not be a bad purchase. I think if Saizo could do that little bit of extra damage, every point of damage matters in this early stage of the run. So let me get rid of the brass shuriken. And let me get the Iron Shuriken. There we go. I also got a chopstick, which it's not very useful, but we do have it. So Setsun is Yumi as well. We have the Hoe and the Iron Club, obviously. And the Armor Slayer. The Armor Slayer is going to be very useful in this first chapter once we get Hinata. Because, as you probably will have seen in the Hinata solo run, the original one, I'm going to be referring back to this a lot. You have been warned. The Armor Slayer is the only weapon that allows Hinata to one-round every enemy on the map, or at least double every enemy on the map, at base. A regular sword from Nor doesn't do it, a regular katana also doesn't do it, because he doesn't do enough damage. But okay, so we have saved. We're going to try this again. So let's try Chapter 9 one more time. We're going to be saving the paralogs and the invasions for when Hinata is actually here, so we can you know, support grind. But okay, so we're back. Now, everyone needs a vulnerary. Or a concoction. Aoi certainly needs a concoction. I think that goes without saying. Let me just give everyone else that's not on the front lines, a vulnerary. Just to be safe. Now all of these are going to go to Hinata once he joins, obviously. Azura can get one, though Azura doesn't really... There's no real need for Azura to have one, but... She doesn't really face combat, but if she ever has to tank a hit, then I suppose it's useful. And then Saizo is going to be on the front line as well, so I'm gonna... What did I give the concoction to? Did I just give people concoctions? Or did I just buy one concoction? Oh no, they're just down here. Okay, fair enough. So I'm gonna give one of them to Saizo. Let's see. We don't got the concoction anymore. There you go. Concoction, and I think Silas has been on the front lines a lot as well. And he has more HP than Kaze, it's 1 point, but Aoi does have access to the convoy at all times, that's true. She does have all the vulneraries. That's a really cool thing about Fire Emblem Fates. Corrin always has access to the convoy at all times. So you can pull out vulneraries mid-game, you can pull out different weapons mid-map, but let's see. I'm gonna try to give Silas, I think. I'm gonna give Silas a concoction, since he has been on the front lines, he has a lot of HP. So we're gonna use him as a tank, I think. Actually, scratch that. Hinoka definitely needs one. Boom. So now what? Do we have more vulneraries? We have a few more vulneraries. And once everyone has one, I think we can give this one another shot. I think we're much better equipped now. Now, I can also pop these in advance, so Corrin has more resistance and defense. Now, what are they called? The tonics. The tonics, they last for one map. You can use them at basically any point in the map, and they boost your stats by 2. I'm basically sure. I guess it depends on which stat, actually. But it lasts for one map, then it wears off. But I think this is probably all we need. Seeing a lot of good ideas in the chat as well. Azura solo run, Candace solo run, Izama solo run. Or Izana, I suppose. I can be bribed. Let me put that out there. I can be bribed. But Hinata, of course, takes priority. Kaze solo run is not a possibility. Kaze solo run is like a possibility for maybe April Fools or something, but no, nothing else. So, let's start this battle, let's try it again. I did not pair anyone up. That is my bad, I'm not going to lie. But that's fine. I had Kaze with Orochi, I'm pretty sure, which is not very useful to be honest, but it is something. So I'm going to have Saizo up here with the Iron Shuriken, and I'm going to have Kaze up here with the Iron Shuriken as well. And it's going to be the same strategy as before. We're going to have Rinka up there. So now Aoi with the Dragonstone, 16 defense, which is really good, because if you look at these Cavaliers, 19 attack, she's going to be taking 3 damage at most. Which, yeah, that's only 2 less than last map, but you would be shocked how much it matters. So again, I'm going to be putting her up here, which I think works for the time being. Yeah, that creates a space in the middle, a pocket in the middle for the people who don't want to be initiating combat right now, such as Azura, such as Jacob. But the rest of them should be good to just take 1 hit and run. Silas can be back here with the Javelin, and that should be solid. So Azura down here, so she can immediately heal Silas with her personal skill as well, once that procs. But okay. Let's wait. I think it should be fine now. So yeah, now Saizo actually one-rounds these mages, which... It's a double-edged sword, of course. If you kill more enemies, you free up more slots to be attacked, but I think in Saizo's case, he should be solid. Saizo overall is just such a good unit to use. Especially early game, he really carries quite hard. Not as hard as Jacob, but Saizo does a number on the early game enemies, let me tell you that. I'm going for Sakura as Sugi, that's a good question. However, I'm not going to be getting any child units, except for maybe Hisame. Because this is a Hinata solo run, so obviously I'm going to be mostly just using Hinata and Korin here. And child units are not per se on the menu right now. If it turns out to be necessary that I need some more maps for grinding, I might consider it, but in principle, I'm not going to be going for any child units other than Hisame. Once again, banger level up for Saizo. It's basically identical to what he got in the last try, but since the RNG, I guess, doesn't really change. It doesn't change per instance of the game that you run. So yeah, Kaze will retain this goated level up as well. But yeah, like I said, this does free up a spot for Saizo to be attacked. Now, unironically, drawing the bows away from Korin, from Aoi, is really useful. Even though they do no damage. It's just really useful to not have them at the beginning stage of the map, right here in this little box. You thought I was going for that, Carbol? Yeah, I did deploy Sakura. That's true. That's true. I did use Sakura at some point for Silent Strength, or Quiet Strength, for the -2 damage. That's certainly true, but... No, I'm not going to go for any child units. Okay, so having Azura there as well. Azura's personal skill heals at the beginning of the round. It heals up to 10% for allies that are injured. So that actually just restores all the HP that Aoi just lost from this round of combat. So now the situation is looking a lot better already. What I want to do, I think, is... Do I want to heal up Saizo already? Or do I just want to take out this guy? I think there's an argument to be made for me taking out this guy already. Since Saizo can tank both bows that are incoming here, he could not tank both mages incoming. But if I take out this mage with Kaze, then I think Saizo taking out that bow is more than fine. Yeah, Azura can actually unironically be a really good healer with Amaterasu. That's true. That's true. It's just she can stack so much like healing at the beginning of the round with Amaterasu and her personal skill, which, you know, it's great to see, honestly. It's really nice to find these gimmicks for characters that they don't seem to have, you know, because Azura, of course, is the trademark dancer for Fates, and she's obviously most useful in that way, but if you're especially fanatic, Azura actually has really good growths. Like, if you ever look into it, Azura has really good strength and speed growths, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, she could do a number as well if you build her right. So, it seems like Silas actually dodged this magic attack, which is great, because that means I can just kill this mage right now with Silas. So there we go. That's good. Already, this is looking a lot better. I'm not gonna front. The tonics, and especially the vulneraries. The vulneraries are really helping. Now, it's a bit of RNG as well, of course. There is something that I think I will have to change. HP gauges are on smart and is on danger area. Oh, it does have attacks and traps already. Okay, so that's good. That's what I needed. That being said, we actually have taken really little damage. Again, don't want to jinx it, but it's looking pretty alright. Now what I want to try is to take out the second bow, and then I think what I want to do is just bring Hinata out there, honestly. Like, if I one-round this bow, which I actually cannot do, that kind of sucks, but if I try going to him with Hinata, and then possibly having Jacob up there, like if she hits both, she does 16. Jacob also does 16 with the pair-up, so I think either way should be a safe move. So let me try that. Let me just try to bring Hinata out there so we're a little less pressed for room. Okay, one miss. That's fine. That means that Jacob needs to hit a 64%, I'm decently sure. Yeah, Jacob only takes 7 damage, so that's not too bad. That's one. And reliable Silas, as per usual. Man, they give Silas so much shit, but he's useful early game, I swear. I promise. Okay, but here we go. We are officially out. We're not as pressed for space anymore as we used to be. And now what that means is we can really start making some headway. What I would love to do is to just take out these Cavaliers early on, which they will target Aoi. That's like a given by this point. So what I ideally do is see, here's the thing. I can double team this mage with Corrin. Corrin will have a guard stance ready. And then I can snipe this mage, this dark mage, with Silas, with the javelin. Because he actually... Never mind. Not necessary. Here's Dragonfang. So that's just enough to take out this dark mage up front. So that's great. So that really takes off a lot of pressure. Like, I can't even tell you how much pressure that takes off. And I think what that means is that I want to just pull back Jacob, so he guaranteed doesn't take any damage. So, let's see. That is all I think I really need to do. Hypothetically, I could have Jacob tank... Could have Jacob tank something. Could have him tank a javelin and just heal Saizo right here. Which I think is a pretty safe move to do, honestly. So let's see, they go for Kaze. Kaze is perfectly fine against these dark mages. Because again, highest res on the team currently, I think. You know, of course, discrediting Hinata with the Guard Naginata, because the Guard Naginata is just insane in this game. It is one of the best weapons in the game. Okay, Kaze in a bit of a tight spot here. He's going to be taking another bow, I'm pretty sure. Which is fine, he just barely lives. So he lives on 1 HP, which is enough. And he has the guard stance, so he's safe for this round. But yeah, obviously a little scary. These Cavaliers as well, a little scary. So I'm going to try to get rid of them as soon as possible. But this is good. We need to have these Cavaliers targeting Aoi. And we need to have Aoi triggering Dragonfang, ideally. But of course, just doing 22 damage is perfectly fine. At the beginning of this map. Try again. And we're gonna have the lovely Fates voice acting, which is so much better than all the voice actors they installed for the Fates characters and heroes. Like, the quality of the voice acting in this game really does not compare when you look at all the characters in Fate, to be honest. Okay, there they are. That's the goat. He's back. But okay, they're gonna start moving, and what I can do, actually, is I could shield off Hinata and Obro. Do I want to do that? Not yet, because ideally I have them take some hits. That sounds counterintuitive, because I just said I don't want them to take hits. But if they distract 1 or 2 Cavaliers without dying, that is actually a really useful thing for them to do. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. At the same time, Kaze needs to heal. He's doing great. He needs to heal. Actually, does he? Is he in danger of dying if I don't heal him right now? I think actually not. If these 2 Cavaliers do not have javelins, he has a guard stance, so he can guarantee take another hit. I just have to make sure that no one has a javelin. No Cavalier that can reach him. Which, it looks like there's none, actually. So I think I'm safe to just attack with Kaze. Now, the win condition for that is, of course, he needs to hit the 73%. But, you know what? For this one time, I trust Kaze. W. Okay, so, That was a good try, a good fight. Another good level from Kaze, ironically. But Kaze should be fine now. There's no one that should be able to target him, so I should be good to start taking out Cavaliers on this side of the screen now. Now, of course, I still need to play this relatively safe. I need to see what I can do with Silas as well, because I don't want to have Silas just pent up here. I think he should be able to move out a little bit, though I don't want to move him out too far. In fact, I'm going to keep Hinoka here with a concoction, so she can distract more Cavaliers. And then on this side, I'm going to have Saizo just take pot shots, I think. If he gets a 2% crit, that'd be beautiful, but not necessary. As of right now, I imagine. Goodbye, Nico. Thank you for joining for a bit. Thank you for joining Fire Emblem. Have a good night. Rar, hey, welcome. Which coin class are you doing? I'm using Fighter. So I'm going to go Berserker again, I think. Since Berserker pair-up, Berserker backup is just... It's uncontested, I think, as the best backpack in Fire Emblem Fates. So that's what I'm going to be running again. It was very useful for Master Ninja, and I have to imagine it's very useful for Samurai, for Swordmaster as well. Also, good evening, Celine. Welcome. Good to have you here. Let's see. So, what can I do here? Again, take pot shots is what I can do. But I need to be careful. So I'm gonna be safe and take out one of these Cavaliers. Berserker gives speed, but you need defense for Birthright. Yeah, my boy Hinata has plenty of defense. Don't even worry about it. At least, I think so. We're gonna find out. See, I don't even know if this run is possible, to be completely honest. But with enough love and hope and blind optimism, we're going to get there. Surely, we're going to get there with Master Ninja. We can get there with Swordmaster. I have a few things up my sleeve. Well, one thing up my sleeve, but let me see. So ideally, I would take out that second. Oh, I would love to take out that second Cavalier there. Now, both of these guys have javelins. Is that a problem? It might be a problem, not gonna lie. Ideally, Silas does not have shelter yet. In fact, I think that's a paladin skill. Actually, no, it's a Cavalier skill, I'm pretty sure, but it doesn't really matter, he doesn't have it, so I can't just sing with Azura, because I'm pretty sure she will get sniped. 18 attack. She does have 7 defense, so it's actually not that bad. She could take 1 javelin, I guess, and it would guarantee that I take out a second Cavalier here, so maybe that's not too bad of an idea. Yeah, I think that's good. The plan is simple, Hinata. Exactly, Luca, exactly. To pull out a classic quote, the plan is simple. The plan is Hinata. Okay, so Kaze's good. I think everyone else is good. No, Kaze is fine. Kaze is fine. Kaze only gets targeted by this bow and he has a guard stance up. There's no Cavaliers with javelins that can reach him, so he's fine. I don't need to heal him. And these guys are static, so they don't move. So let's see. I think I'm good. I might want to just bring Silas out here just to see if I can bait something, but aside from that, Jacob can heal Kaze or Saizo though. We can do that. Okay. So yeah, like I said, Kaze is good. This outlaw is smirking for now. He's not going to be when he's dead, which is right now. So yeah, like I said, no javelins in range, no other 2 range units that can attack Kaze. As you can see, the danger zone has decreased to show that Kaze cannot be attacked. Silas actually baiting out the Dark Mage, which is good. Huge, actually. Ooh, okay, I did not expect him to be taking a javelin, not gonna lie. That's a miscalculation on my part. If he did not have the guard stance up, I think that would have been a pretty tough situation. But I think for now, we're good. For now, for this round, we're good. So it's looking pretty feasible that we get Hinata and Obro on the next turn here. Which would be huge. That would mean that we could start this run properly. That being said, they are going to move closer. Now, I can't actually recruit Hinata on this turn because Oboro got in the way, and I can't move through Oboro, unfortunately. But, okay, let's see. So ideally, I take out every single Cavalier that's here right now. If I can do that, then we are super Gucci. And Saizo's going to be crucial in that. Saizo's going to do a shit ton of damage. Let me see here. I think the plan is that Saizo snipes both of these guys through the wall. Yeah, he's going to take no damage from the javelin. Am I locked to Swordmaster or the Swordmaster class line? Yes, that's one of the that's the only special rule for this run that I established. Hinata is not in essence locked to the Samurai or Swordmaster class, but he can only initiate combat on main story maps, so not scout maps, while in the Samurai or Swordmaster class. And that's the only caveat. He can be in other classes to get skills, which I'm going to be entirely honest is going to be necessary, 100%. But other than that, he's going to be locked, initiating combat as a Samurai or a Swordmaster. But okay, so we're starting to do good now. Hinata and Oboro are not going to attack any of the enemy units, so we're going to have to do the rest of this ourselves. So I'm going to take the Dark Mage out, the last Dark Mage for the time being, with Hinoka. And that's a good level, that's a very good level. And now we only have Cavaliers left. Now we still have, I think, one Cavalier with a Javelin, which I would love to take out. I don't know if it's super smart to do it with the Yato, so I'm not going to. As you can see, I can talk to Oboro and Hinata. Actually, I can reach Hinata. Hold up. Hold up. We can reach Hinata. I'm not going to quite yet. I'm going to cheese this a little bit. And I'm going to try to make it so that I have to take as little enemies after recruiting Hinata as possible. So that essentially what Hinata has to do is clean up duty here. But let's see. What shall I do here? I think I pull back Silas. Rather, I keep Silas here. Maybe he baits out the other Javelin guy. And then I try to do whatever I can with Aoi here. If Aoi pops the Dragon Fang here, again, we're going to be banking on this a lot early game. Okay, that's fine. So then next turn, we take out all of these Cavaliers in one fell swoop. I'm decently certain. There's nothing coming from the sides anymore. In fact, Kaze can just kind of snipe this guy without any repercussions. And that's going to be very useful, because this also drops his stats. Daggers and Shuriken, there's the word. They drop stats in this game after being struck with one. So we're going to be making good use of that. I'm also going to be healing Kaze, which it's not necessary by this point, but I'm still going to do it. So we are looking pretty decent currently. Hinoka is going to be taking a bit of damage, but with the guard Naginata she should be fine. And also with the guard stance. She's not going to be taking more than 2 hits after this, so she should be more than fine to survive this round. And that is all the threats that we have here. Ideally, like this, they go for Aoi. But I think we're pretty good after this round. We're pretty good to recruit Hinata and to start this run officially. So yeah, Hinoka pulling her weight as well. Doing her job, making sure that Saizo can take these guys out. Now one of these corny-ass Cavaliers is targeting Hinata. Of course, Hinata doesn't care, but I care. We can't be having that. You better pray for a Parasol drop. Sunrise Katana 2 is +20 avoid. Yeah, I'm really hoping to get the Sunrise Katana. I think I actually did get the Parasol from my castle. But yeah, I'm gonna have to see. Silas just 1 point shy of killing here. If I can somehow get someone... Nah, it's not worth it. I wanted to say if I can get someone who can actually give him that 1 point of strength through pair-up, that'll be great, but Saizo can just take both of these Cavaliers out through the wall. So that's all you can really ask for. Saizo being incredibly useful here in the early game, as expected. And honestly, Saizo solo run, I would love to try that at some point. It would unironically be one of the easiest things ever, because Saizo is such a great unit. But, yeah, at the same time, just using Saizo all the time, I would love that. And Master Ninja is just such a goated class. But okay, it looks like cleanup duty is almost done here. What I'm going to try to do is clean up all the Cavaliers here. The hope is that Kaze can... Okay, Kaze can take out this Cavalier on the side, and then the last 2 Cavaliers down at the bottom here, we can one-tap them with literally anyone. Yeah, Saizo solo run, just the easiest way to beat Birthright. Yeah, it really is. It really is. Like, I'm not even trying to joke here, but It really just is. Okay, so we take out the last Javelin Cavalier. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna get Hinata. It's time. What I first need to do is I need to get the Armor Slayer from the convoy. And actually, yeah, I have a Parasol. I have a Parasol, but Parasol actually, it looks like it kind of does nothing except for give 10 crit. It doesn't give extra avoid, but, and I'll give it to Hinata, why not? But okay, that means it is time. But first I'm going to turn on the lights, because it's starting to get dark out now. Very late, but it does. Okay, here we go. So, it is time. It is time to scout, to recruit the boy, Hinata! You're not with Zola. Whose side are you on? What? You don't know who I am? Dude, that's the goat. That's Hinata. Come the fuck on. Log in. We're here. And this, get a load of this girl. She doesn't know who Hinata is. The absolute man, the myth, the legend. Come the fuck on. Come the fuck on. But yeah, there he is. The name's Hinata, Lord Takami's retainer and the goat of this run. It's gonna happen. Alright, now, we're gonna give Hinata a Concoction, Armor Slayer, and the Parasol. And in fact, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch, and I'm gonna transfer Aoi to Hinata to start getting those buffs, to start getting those support ranks up with Aoi as well, because those are gonna be very useful. Also, Brooks FE6, welcome. Good evening. Welcome to the stream. You got in right at the right time, where we're finally able to recruit Hinata. But okay, the game is on. We're ready. We're going. So like I said, Armor Slayer is the only thing that actually allows Hinata to double these Cavaliers. The Parasol doesn't, the Steel Katana doesn't, because the steel weapons, they actually drop effective speed by 5 whenever you're initiating combat or in combat. But the Armor Slayer is light enough for Hinata to actually double. So that means we can officially start the Hinata solo run. From this point onward, only initiating combat with Hinata, no one else. One down! And that's a great start. Come the fuck on. So that also means that I'm not going to heal anymore. I'm not going to heal with anyone that is not Hinata himself. In fact, I'm going to give these vulneraries to Hinata so he can do it himself. But otherwise, I'm not going to be moving anyone else from their positions currently. I don't need to, because most of it has been cleaned up. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some reinforcements at some point. So I'm going to try to make sure that, of course, no one gets killed in the process, even though we only need Hinata, really. But yeah, next turn, we pick up Oboro. This enemy, yeah, these outlaws are going to swipe really useful items, 5,000 gold and a speed wing, but we're not going to get there in time to actually salvage those anymore. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk to Oboro so we get her on the army. We do need Oboro, of course. Oboro's second best retainer after Hinata only, of course. So, but there we go. So that's Oboro on the team. What I'm going to try and do is put all our Squishier units up in here. Hinoka doesn't qualify as such, but we will need her to actually live. And then I'm just going to try to not have anyone initiate combat, ideally. Want to stash them away and make sure that Hinata is the only one initiating combat here. That also means no singing with Azura anymore. But okay. And here we go. So now we're going to have these Cavaliers spawning in. There's going to be reinforcements on the stairs. They're going to be alternating between sides, I'm pretty sure. So here's the thing. They have Iron Lances. So actually, if we stay in this room, there's no harm possible for anyone. So in fact, I'm going to have Saizo not out here. I'm going to have Hinoka out there. So she can just guard the room. And that's all that we're going to need. Let me trade the Vulnerary to Hinoka. Use that. And then we should be good on that front. So now we don't need to move anyone else from this position. We only have to move Hinata. So he takes a bit of damage, but he's able to take these guys pretty alright. It might have to be the case that I have to distract some enemies later, because Hinata is not the most defensively bulky by this point. I also did not buy tonics for Hinata quite yet. But we're going to do that after this map. He's going to be just fine on this map. I've done this before. He's going to take another Cavalier, and then he's going to have a guard stance ready, and he's going to be able to heal, so... And there's going to be enough leeway. He's gonna proc triple threat as well. his personal skill. Once Hinata drops down below 50% HP... Okay, actually I didn't notice there's mages spawning, so, you know, there is actually a good chance that I will have to just square up in a defensive position here. Which I don't love to do, but you have to make do with what you can. This is technically not breaking the rules, since, as I said, I cannot initiate combat with anyone that is not Hinata, but I can take attacks. That's all I can do. So now what that means is I can start taking out these Cavaliers. They will probably start going for Hinoka once I've done this round of combat, but Hinata's guaranteed to live here because of the guard stance. And this is what you're going to be seeing a lot in this run. So that's his first kill. Second kill. First Cavalier kill. No, actually also second Cavalier kill. But yeah, this is all we're going to do. This is essentially going to be our positioning. Ideally, I don't have Hinata take any mages up front just yet. With 4 resistance, he's not going to be taking that much currently. But he's going to be taking a lot of magic damage. That's what I meant. But yeah, he's going to be fighting against the Cavaliers at the very least. So we're going to be able to do that for the time being. And then the mages, they'll be handled by Saizo and Kaze, standing menacingly behind the walls. Potentially, once the Cavaliers stop spawning, Hinata can pick some of the Dark Mages off for some extra EXP. It actually is very, very possible, very useful as well. Unless Saizo just one-rounds every single one of them, to be completely honest. But yeah. Should we have had Sakura or Azura heal? No, Luca, no. We're not going to be healing with anyone except Hinata himself. First triple threat kill. I'm hoping to see a lot more of those during this run, because killing with triple threat is really fun. But yeah. So the mages are going to keep spawning, obviously. Now what I want to do is keep Hinata out of range of those. And we're going to use the concoction. He's going to take 16 damage at most. He does kill all of these Cavaliers in 2 rounds of combat with the Armor Slayer. And that's literally all the movement we have to do. So yeah, the Outlaws are going to escape with the loot from the chests, with the Speed Wing and the 5,000 gold. But that is not the biggest issue. It's not the biggest issue. The Speed Wing Hinata will compensate for later. He's going to be a Swordmaster class, literally one of the fastest classes in the game. So yeah, not too big of an issue. And the gold, we're going to have so much gold. Because we can sell all of the weapons that we're not going to use on Hinata. We're going to be able to sell basically everything. All the seals as well at a certain point. But yeah, for the time being, this is going to be the gameplay, because there are a few rounds of reinforcements of Cavaliers here and of Dark Mages. As you can see, there is the second one already. I will have to actually heal up with Hinata again. Just a regular vulnerary should do. I'm pretty sure it's 3 or 4 rounds of reinforcements, so we're going to be here for a little while longer. But our guys are perfectly fine for the time being. This setup should work out perfectly. You could also have forged an Iron Katana, if you recall correctly. Armor Slayer has Lowered Might, that's true. Lowered Might, effectiveness against armored units, of course. And don't worry about backseating, by the way. Like, I keenly realize I am not the greatest Fire Emblem player. Even when it comes to Fates, I am not the greatest. As my name suggests, huge fanboy of Fates, obviously. But it's more so being a fanatic rather than being an expert. So I'm more than happy to take advice from any of you guys. So don't worry about backseating. But yeah, exactly, the Forge is huge. The Forge is absolutely huge. We're going to be making a lot of use of that, to be sure. Especially when we start, hopefully when we start getting Sunrise Katanas. Which, for context, for any of you who don't know what the Sunrise Katana is, the Sunrise Katana is a weapon, a katana, hold up. First Hinata level up of the run. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I can fix him. This is exactly how the first Hinata solo run started off as well. With a bum-ass level up. But that's okay. We're gonna fix this. That's alright. Roy-ass level up. Yeah, it really is. It really is. Unfortunate. But it is what it is. Gonna heal Hinata one more time. And then... I mean... Yeah, Kaze cannot initiate combat. And in fact, I'm gonna actually not heal. Yeah, I'm not gonna heal. Both of these ninjas should be fine. Yikes level up, but we all start somewhere, and the resistance is certainly needed later on, because I'm not entirely certain that Hinata has a great resistance growth, even as a samurai slash swordmaster. In fact, I think it may be one of the worst res growths in the game. Samurai, Swordmaster are not really defensive classes, so yeah, getting any defensive points right now is a good thing, to be sure. Okay, so I think that should be the last round of Cavalier reinforcements. What I'm gonna try to do... Hinata should be fine against this Cavalier as well. So let me just kill this one, hopefully. I really should have played it safe and not done this. Hinata needs to hit both of these. Though he's gonna have a guard stance, so either way he's gonna be fine. So there we go. We're gonna be able to get, I think, 2 to 3 level ups for Hinata on this map. So it's not too terrible. Now Saizo, in a bit of a tight spot. He does take actually 9 damage exactly. So I'm gonna pull back for now, I think. I'm gonna play it a little safe. And what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna heal Jacob because I said I wouldn't, but I'm gonna put Azura there so Saizo can passively heal. And I think this is good for the time being. Kaze, if he kills anything, he has a guard stance guaranteed, so should be safe. But he doesn't kill. He has lowered strength than Saizo at base, so... Okay, there we go. The 80% miss. Could you imagine if he had missed the 80%? That would have been pretty devastating, not gonna lie. Okay, the Vantage. Guard stance. Okay, and that's actually good. That means I can use my last concoction on Hinata. And he should be able to... Okay, so there is a mage coming in, not gonna lie. Which is not per se a bad thing. I'm gonna put Hinata up a little bit more. I'm gonna put him up here. I'm gonna use the last concoction so he can take all of these Cavaliers during this round. And it looks like this Dark Mage is potentially going to target Hinoka. I'm pretty sure he was trying to go for Hinata, but that's not going to happen anymore. So, let me see here. Yeah, I think this positioning is fine. Again, most of the stuff is going to be happening with Hinata. I can overthink this, but Kaze is fine against the mages and Hinata is far away enough from the mages to not be targeted, so... Hinata's personal growths are literally bennies besides not having a res growth. He's an armored knight. He is an armored knight in essence, that's true. One of the best defensive units in this game. I think Obro is the best by quite the large margin, primarily because of the guard Naginata being a thing. But Hinata is high up there as a good defensive unit, which is really rare in Birthright actually. People don't give Hinata enough credit for being a defensive unit on the Birthright route. Because realistically, when you think about it, you don't have that many. There's Hinata, there's Obro, Saizo to an extent. And then there's units like Silas and Scarlet who bring their defensive stats from Nor, obviously. The Nor classes are a lot more defense-oriented than the Hoshido classes, obviously. What am I planning on friendship skills? So last time, the original run, what I did is I friendship sealed with Takumi, which allowed Hinata to get Kinshi Knight. And Kinshi Knight is really useful later on in the game. Also, I don't have healing anymore on Hinata, so I'm gonna have to try to get something from the convoy, I think. I have a Vulnerary, which should be enough against these Cavaliers. I'm a little nervous about that Dark Mage there, though, not gonna lie. So I'm gonna be a little cheesy, and I'm gonna move Hinoka down one spot. Yeah. Which is enough to actually distract that Dark Mage far enough. So let's see, now I can get a Vulnerary from the convoy, and that should be enough for Hinata to take out these remaining Cavaliers, and that should be the end of the reinforcements. There we go. Once again, the formation remains unchanged. They're targeting Obro now, which honestly didn't even notice they could reach, but that's fine. And Jacob as well. Like, Jacob is perfectly fine against these Dark Mages. Especially when he dodges a 71 like that. Hinata's amazing. He just needs the coveted Heart Seal in Birthright. That's true. In Reverie is your best Oni for free. Yeah, Hinata benefits so much from actually going Oni Savage and going something like Blacksmith. Just to really benefit from all that defense. It's really useful. People really underestimate it, which you hate to see. But here we go. So Hinata's going to proc Vantage here. He's going to get the guard stance, so he's actually going to take no damage from this interaction. And he hopefully takes out this last Cavalier. which rounds up the last of the Cavalier reinforcements. So now we are officially in go mode. Now we can start moving. We're actually able to start initiating on these Dark Mages. After healing a little bit, of course. And what I still think I want to do is move Jacob and Obro out of range. So one of them goes for Kaze, ideally. None of them are able to reach Kaze at this point, but that's fine. So then what we do is move Hinata up here, vulnerary, and then we just have the mages move around. We can finally go on the offensive. Yes, we can finally start moving Hinata. The rest of this should be a really easy cleanup job. The only risky part is going up against Zola here, who has Mjolnir, which is a heightened crit tome. 25 crit tome is pretty rough. Now, there are ways to circumvent this a little bit. One of them is just luck. Another one is I have a goddess icon in the convoy, so I can give Hinata 4 extra luck, which luck is the stat that partially, I think, primarily determines whether you dodge a critical hit or not. But bronze katanas also give crit dodge, that's true. I don't know if I have one, that's the main issue. But I'm going to have to look into that. That is also a possibility, to be sure. Okay, there we go. So this is very good, actually, because once everyone's done healing, Hinata takes 13 damage. Now, he has, as part of the Samurai set, he has Duelist's Blow, which whenever he initiates combat, he gets 30 extra avoid, so that's 30 less hit for the enemy. A guard stance would avoid the hit that Hinata would have to take. Now, here's the thing. To get the guard stance, I have to initiate, so I'm going to have to take out one of these mages eventually, and it's going to have to be this one, because he's furthest away from the rest of them. Once he has a guard stance, he can easily take out the rest of the mages. We need to build that up first. Ideally, he dodges. Perfect. So I don't need to heal, don't need to go out of my way to heal. And in fact, I can save both of these mages, both of these dark mages, for EXP for Hinata. And that's all it's going to be. So yeah, officially in go mode now. Once we take out this big guy right there, yeah, I mean, either way, he's going to be fine now. There's no crit chance. A 50-50 on whether he's going to get hit or not. I mean, knowing Hinata's just going to dodge, obviously. Win Nata. That's him. That's my goat. Love this guy. Beautiful laugh. But that's all we're going to be able to do for this turn. Okay, it's starting to get better. Things are looking up. More resistance, which is good. As against Zola, against the Dark Mages waiting. And also strength of skill, obviously. Skill determines hit rate, and it also determines, I believe, the proc chance for skills, for certain skills. So those are very, very useful stats to actually grow in. And then with the guard stance, Hinata is easily able to stop this, yes. Okay, and here we go. We are go mode. None of the enemies move beyond this point. So we're able to just take these guys out with Hinata, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Beautiful. Beautiful little stab. One more down. And that means we can start moving up. We can finally start moving for realsies. Now, here's the thing. I want to get as many healing items onto Hinata as possible. So what I'm going to do is going to transfer the Concoction and the Vulnerary over to Hinata. Which he can... yeah, there you go. Concoction and Vulnerary. And of course, I can have these guys moving. I can still have these units moving, just not initiating combat. So I can have them ferry over healing items if necessary. For the time being, I'm going to leave it at this. I'm going to start moving up. Now, there are still some scary things to take into account here. Because there are these pair-ups, which the Dark Mages, they are going to attack. Guaranteed. So we don't actually have to initiate combat against these guys. We don't have to kill them. But we have to break through somewhere. And ideally, I get as much EXP with Hinata on this map as possible. So I think I'm just going to go for the isolated ones first, and then see what I can do afterwards. Now, really what it just is it's baiting out the Dark Mages to attack first, take them out, ideally on enemy phase, because they don't move, so they don't move back. They can't actually attack at 2 range. So what you do is you just put Hinata really close up against these guys, you wait for them to attack, and then you profit. Then you can take them out on player phase. Now, Hinata's taking damage, of course, since, again, no resistance to really speak of, as of right now. And because of the Armor Knight pair-up, these Dark Mages are tanky enough to actually survive 2 hits. But like I said, this isolated Armor Knight is not going to be able to take out Hinata. 20 attack is quite a lot, but especially since Hinata also is in vantage range. So he gets, when he kills this Dark Mage, he gets a guard stance guaranteed in the next round of combat. Yeah, skills there for the proc chance of all important skills, that's true. The ones that are not proc by skill are proc by luck, and those are typically skills like, yeah, exactly, Miracle, Salvage Blow, Future Sight, things that get you items or gold, or, I guess, allow you to live through Miracle, obviously. So, this is where we're going to see the Armor Slayer truly in action. Hinata's able to one-shot these Armor Knights, and with Vantage, he's just going to take them out right now, which is beautiful. But yeah, we're going to have to be a little bit careful of the guys in the middle. Obviously, we don't have to go there right now. In fact, what I think would be more prudent to do is... he's going to have to take 2 Dark Mages at once, which is not great. But I suppose what I could do... No, I'm not going to do that. I was going to say I can use Hinoka or someone else to bait out one of the mages, but I'm not going to do that. Let me use a concoction instead, and let me see what we can do here in this upper formation. While we don't have the guard stance currently, so actually, do we need to do something else first and foremost? So here's the thing: I can one-shot this Armored Knight. Hinata will take 1 magic hit, get the guard stance, and then he's able to block the other mage. So I think we should be able to really smash through this formation pretty easily. Hopefully, get a level up at some point. So let me try that actually. 56 damage, yes, with effective damage in Fire Emblem Fates with the Armor Slayer. But still, it's really good damage. It's really good damage. Okay, so yeah, we get the guard stance after this from this mage attack. Hinata's able to live 2 at max HP anyway, so it's perfectly fine. Now this mage should get 1-rounded because, yeah, doesn't have the Armored Knight pair up anymore. The bad music is playing because with the mage, what's it called? It's called the Dual Strike. He would have been able to kill Hinata, most likely. But now, that is not the case. And now what we have is a pretty good situation where we can just put Hinata down here. We can use a Vulnerary. And again, he should live anything that gets thrown his way. He can only take 2 attacks. The Javelin is there. That's not too big of an issue. And he's going to be taking a magic hit, I presume. Yeah. So this is fine. He lives this. We can heal once again. Yeah, and this is really what this run is going to come down to a lot. It's just going to be healing a lot of healing items that we're going to be able to, are going to need to use. But also just a lot of careful planning. You know, careful planning around these enemy formations. Especially these pair-ups, because the pair-ups they're really potent in Fire Emblem Fates. Especially since they give so many stats. Certain classes, when paired up with others, give so many stats. A little unfortunate here. This Dark Mage is actually going to trigger a guard stance of his own, but fortunately we double. So we should be able to take him out still. The Dark Mages give good EXP, and now what this means is that we one-shot the rest of these knights, and we should be perfectly fine to just continue here. Yeah. Either way, if somehow Hinata misses this 96, he gets the guard stance, so he's going to be perfectly fine. Beautiful. Tsubaki or Hinoka could peg Hinata for +3 resistance. I think you should word that a little differently, not gonna front. Just a little bit. Like, just slightly tweak that, you know? But yeah, I mean, they could be good for the extra resistance. That's true. But, I want to have Aoi paired up with Hinata, because we're gonna need an A rank support rank between Aoi and Hinata for the most stats in the late game, once Aoi is a Berserker. Okay, we one-shot this Armored Knight. And either way, again, if Hinata misses this, there's the guard stance, and there is Vantage, and there is the fact that the bow unit isn't actually able to attack Hinata since he's static. So Okay, actually, don't kill. So we're going to try to use the Parasol. Extra 10 crits. This is beautiful. This is the most beautiful attack you've ever seen in your life. Oh, that's it! Holy shit! The first Parasol attack is immediately a crit. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That is absolute cinema. That is what you love to see. Hinata, the first fucking Parasol hit is a crit. That's insane. That's insane. Okay. I'm also seeing the question, are we using, or are we not giving Aoyan as support with Hinata? The answer to that is most likely no. Since what I want to do is I want to profit as much as possible from inheritable skills, from the partner seals that you have in this game. Now what I'm also going to do is I'm going to ferry over more vulneraries, because I kind of need them, like, really badly on Hinata. So let me bring together all the vulneraries that I have. There's another concoction as well, actually. We do not have Thracia trade in this game, unfortunately, but what I can do is I can just take him like this, and that also works. And then I can pair up with Jacob, and I can give all these vulneraries. Let's see. Actually, I can't. I have to switch, and then I have to trade. There you go. Give all these vulneraries and the concoction to Hinoka, who can start moving up towards Hinata. And that is that. Now we're looking pretty solid. But let's see. That's it. Oh, that's it. Exactly, Panda. That is the quote that Hinata said there. That is one of Hinata's classic crit quotes, which he carries over from Takumi. All of the retainers in these games, they carry over one crit quote from their liege. So Takumi has the "oh, that's it," so Oboro and Hinata also have it. Sakura has "it's all me," which Hana and Tsubaki also have. And there's a bunch of them like that. But let's see. Yeah, I think it's probably prudent if I... Actually, crazy thought, what if I don't heal Hinata yet? What if I just one-shot this guy? And then I use... Yeah, I get a guard stance. Yeah, just one-shot this guy, get a guard stance, don't take any damage from the mage. And then lock in. Yeah, that should be it. Is Hinata not getting soul? No, See, that's a possibility. I don't really know if it's going to be necessary. That's the thing. It probably will be necessary, to be completely honest, but... Okay, here we go. Yeah, the bad music is playing again, but we have Vantage. We do one-round this guy with the guard stance, so that's enough. That's enough to take out all the dark mages on this map. And this map is by far taking the longest for now, because we had to get to Hinata. I had to introduce everything on the run, and I had to actually work Hinata all the way up here. But okay, now we're in the final stretch. These guys are static, so all I need to do now is bait out these two dark mages and take them out before Hinata has the chance to die. So let me see, I can give him more vulneraries, so Hinoka's just here as the vulnerary supplier. And what this means is that they have 1 crit. Hinata has 13 luck, so I think he should be fine. They have fire and thunder. Okay, these guys... This Armored Knight has a door key, and he has a chest key, which... Useless because most of the chests have been robbed, of course. The outlaws are long gone by this point. They're already back in Nor. But yeah. All the retainers have a little thing like that. It's true. It's true. Baruka saying it's time to play. Yeah, it's... It really doesn't fit Baruka, but, you know, it's cute. It's cute. Actually, different thought. Hinata only has to take 1 hit, 1 magic hit, if he just kind of stands here. Kills this guy in 1 hit. And then the Outlaw doesn't attack, because again, Outlaw is 2 range only with the bows. So yeah, that's even better. This way Hinata only has to take 1 magic hit. For the time being, of course. Get a door key, we don't need a door key, but we can... They're universal, so we can use them in later maps if we need to, or just sell them in the shop. So Hinata's there, he's going to take a bit of damage, which is not too bad. But yeah, of course, it's not nice to take damage still. So, let's see here. Now, what I ideally do is I pull back. And this guy is now closer. So both of these guys cannot attack Hinata at the same time if I move to the max range of this Dark Mage. So he can move 5 spaces, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it should be along this diagonal. So if I put Hinata on this light here, or on this flooring, have him heal up, then this guy shouldn't be able to reach. Yeah, there you go. So he only has to take 1 magic hit at a time. Both mages are gonna start moving, I'm decently sure. But for the time being, this is perfectly fine. This is a perfectly fine situation. Okay, there's only actually the 1 mage that starts moving. That's even better. Because there's a 37%. I'm not gonna risk it. I'm gonna make sure that Hinata lives. So I'm gonna just stay here and I'm going to use Vulnerary. And I'm gonna wait this out. I'm gonna be a little patient during most of these maps. I don't want to rush in and risk having to redo the entire map just because I, you know, failed to hit a 37 or dodge a 37. But now, when I initiate combat, Hinata's going to have the guard stance, so he's going to live guaranteed. The second mage is not able to reach, still. I have the danger zone mapped out for him. So there we go. There's always a chance that Hinata would have, of course, dodged that magic attack. But that's not what we're going for here. We're really playing it safe. And then another heal should do it, should allow Hinata to live. And killing this last Dark Mage should also allow him to actually level up a last time on this map. Now, interesting thing, I said that triple threat, right? Triple threat, it allows Hinata, when he drops beneath 50%, his personal skill, to deal half the delta damage back to the attacker, to the initiator of the attack. That only works for melee attacks. It only works for melee attacks, so swords, axes, lances. I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's just swords, lance, or axes. This also includes javelins, hand axes, and things like the parasol, which are 2-range swords. They don't include magic, daggers, anything else that's 2-range, bows. So that's going to be something to keep in mind in the future as well. I have used this with skills like counter, and counter magic, which has been very fun, but not gonna lie. It's not very consistent, that's the thing. Okay, so here's the thing, I think I have to sit this out a bit longer, which I'm fairly alright with doing that. I think in the meantime, I'll try to get some more healing items over to Hinata. The last few that we have. Which I'm going to see who still has some. Sakura still has some. And then there's Orochi, I think has vulneraries. So yeah. Let's get all of those over to Silas, who has the highest movement. And then we're going to be burning through a lot of vulneraries, but such is the nature of this game, of course. Let me take Hana's vulnerary as well. And then let me trade that onto Silas, who can start moving next turn. There we go. Okay, so that's for next turn. Hinata for now is going to keep baiting out this Dark Mage. He's going to be sitting here for a bit. He's going to take 1 more attack next turn. He could, of course, always dodge, but the 77%, yeah, I'm not banking on it. Safe to say. All this time, I also could have used the Parasol, to be completely honest. I kind of forgot about that. It does give me -5 effective speed, but I think at this stage in the game, it's like negligible. Especially since these guys have 6 speed, but you know what? For the fans, why not? Let's see what the Parasol does. The Parasol's paid off really well in the very first interaction that it had with an enemy, so might as well try it again. Let's see, I want to optimize Hinoka's movement next turn, so let's see how this goes. Now he attacks from 1 range, which is interesting. Hinata is safely guarded by the Parasol. Okay, no 2% crit, but trust in the Parasol. Of course, we trust in the Parasol always. But now, ooh, Steel Katana Gaming? Hold on. We have the guard stance, so we're safe. Look how clean these katanas look as well. Like, they're so beautiful. I love the katanas in Fire Emblem Fates. I love all the Hoshiden weapons, the Japanese weapons. They're beautiful. Strength, speed, lock, defense. Now there's a beautiful Hinata level. Lock the fuck in. That's what we need. We need more of these. We need more speed. We need more defense. Lock and strength are really useful as well, obviously. So yeah, this is good. This is good. Good development all around. Okay, so let's see. More vulneraries. I need better vulneraries on Hinoka there, so she can ferry them up to Hinata. But yeah, stat stonks, defense stonks, strength stonks, that's all we need. We need a lot of that. You know what? Do we have more Parasol Gaming? Why not? Come on, 12% crit? Could you imagine? 12% crit on this poor, unknowing... No. Close, but not quite. Next turn for sure. So we got more vulneraries, and now the last enemy on the map is going to be Zola, who's also the boss, who has the high crit Tome. Which is not great, but we have a guaranteed dodge with the guard stance. So that's what we're going to be primarily banking on here. Now the speed level up is very necessary, actually. Since... Actually, I forget whether this is enough to double. I don't think it is enough, actually, to be completely honest. Had I had a speed tonic, that might have helped a bit. But yeah, doesn't really matter right now. We're gonna actually see what it does. I'm decently sure... Yeah, no, it gives me -3 effective speed. Armor Slayer is the only weapon that doesn't actually degrade my speed. But I'm gonna see how it works out. I don't think we have any other swords to really work with. The steel sword, but again, steel weapons, minus effective speed, so we don't want that. So let's see what we do against Zola. 4, 12, okay. It's not great. 17% crit to contend with. Which, ideally, you do not want to have any crits above, like, 5%. But like I said, there are things we can do. I still have access to the convoy, and I have... Let's see, I have a secret book and a goddess icon, which honestly might as well just use them right now, since there's no downside to actually using them on maps versus outside of maps. So the odds are not looking great, but I've done this before, so I know it's possible. What we're just gonna do is we're gonna use items. So that's +4 luck, which means -4 crit on Zola. So that's a good start. I'm gonna be using a few turns here to actually just pop all of these items. It's +4 HP due to the Seraph Robe on Hinata, and now +2 skill, and that's gonna put him up to 13 skill. Now, Hinata has lost the guard stance a little bit, so that's not ideal. I think it is because I'm not initiating combat. He starts losing the guard stance. Yeah. So every round we do not initiate combat, you lose 2 charges of the focus stance, or the guard stance. So do not early promote Hinata. He needs as much EXP as possible. He certainly does. He certainly does. So I'm going to be trying not to do that. Here's the thing. How are the odds looking now? So now it's 15%. So 1 point of luck equals half a percentage of crit, I suppose, that we are dodging. Now here's the thing. We're going to have to think about how to circumvent this, right? The primary option that we have at our disposal is a save state. Now, I don't want to do that. Let it be known, I don't want to do that. If I had had something with higher dodge, such as the Sunrise Katana, this would have been a lot easier. For the time being, here's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to bring up characters that can diminish the damage that Hinata takes. So I'm going to take Sakura up there. And I'm going to try to just see who can really help Hinata with their personal skills. We have Vow of Friendship, which... that's not very useful. None of those are very useful. Fiery Blood is not useful. See, Kaze, unironically, Kaze could be useful here with Miraculous Save. Miraculous Save would allow Hinata to dodge 1 lethal hit. This is essentially a miracle, an AoE miracle. But it is dependent on Hinata's luck stat, which is 18 currently, so he has an 18% chance to trigger that, if necessary. Now, of course, we're gonna try to not have that be necessary. But now what I have to do in order to actually... See, I could Heart Seal or Master Seal, which I'm not going to do that yet. But I am going to take some Vulneraries. And I'm going to take the Armor Slayer back, because I think it's actually kind of necessary to have that in my inventory. So now what I just want to do is heal up and basically bring up any units that could be useful to help Hinata get through this. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to bring Sakura up, we're going to bring Azura up, we're going to bring Kaze up. Which is not something I ever imagined myself saying, but... the chance is a 1 in 5 that we get crit. Or rather that I get crit by Zola. Now, that is of course an issue. If Hinata gets crit, then that means the end of this map for us, not gonna lie. So admittedly, the stakes could not be higher. Not gonna front. I'm trying to figure out... 1 in 5 is also the miraculous save proc. That's certainly true. You're right about that. And basically what I want to try and do is pad Hinata's damage as much as possible, but also try to diminish Zola's attack as much as possible. So he's going to bring the squad up here. Now, what Hinata takes currently is he takes 15. He takes 15, and with the Parasol... See, with the Armor Slayer, he only does 8 damage. But also Mjolnir, with the extra crit, it does 4 times damage once he crits. It's a 60% hit that we're facing against Zola here. Which again, not great. But it's not terrible. It's not terrible either. So I'm just gonna try and do what I can. We have to be a little lucky. We're gonna have to be a little lucky. Not gonna lie. But that is such is the nature of this game, I'm afraid. So let's see. I put Sakura up here for the quiet strength. And that already diminishes it a little bit. But here's the thing. With 4 times damage, once he hits a crit, if he hits a crit... Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. I think I'm essentially going to have to initiate at some point. Because I want to really make use of the fact that he only has 35% hit currently. But it's always going to be a little bit of luck. Now, here's the thing. I don't want to drive myself crazy trying to dodge a 15% crit chance every single time. So, with you guys' consent, I will make a save state in this spot. Of course, if it's not necessary, we're not going back. But I don't want to spend another 2 hours on this map, to be completely honest. And I think all of you understand that sentiment, most likely, I should hope. But I'm gonna, of course, do what I can. Again, I'm gonna put Kaze here for Miraculous Save. We have Sakura here for the Quiet Strength. I'm gonna fuck up the stream overlay a little bit, not gonna lie. It's... let's see. I'm gonna have to... how does this work again? Save state. Okay, here we go. So, there we go. Okay, there we go. A disturbance in the force. But okay, here we go. I could use shortcuts, that's true, though I have different things set to different shortcuts, so I don't want to accidentally reset the game. So I'm not going to try that yet, but here it is. We're going to try to initiate on Zola now. This is the moment of truth. Which weapon are we going to use? I think ideally I do it with the Steel Katana. If I do it with the Steel Katana, I 3-round Zola. If I somehow manage to dodge a 15% 3 times in a row, then I kill Zola, guaranteed. So, again, let's just give it the old college try. We have Hinata here. We have the Talisman of Good Luck. He's still here. If this succeeds, the run is a go. Come on, Hinata. Come on!
I see you're ready to die. I'm going to enjoy this.
Hell nah. Hinata is so fucking ready. Watch this. Boom. Okay, that's a hit. That's fine. He can take the hit. In fact, he can take 2 hits. That is perfectly okay. If he dodges a 15% again, that is fine. Zola does heal, which is a bit of an issue, not gonna lie. But it's okay. Okay, that's another hit. Not a... Oh! The 4% crits! Absolute fucking cinema. Absolute fucking cinema. This is the craziest start. Oh my god, man. 4% crit. 4% crit. You don't make this shit up. This is the GOAT. This is the GOAT Hinata. The run is officially underway, ladies and gentlemen. We are so back. We have never been more back. It's game over for Zola. Come the fuck on. And that is chapter 9 complete. And we get to see this awesome guy, Hizana. I love this fucking guy, bro. 4%. Hinata hit a 4% crit to win this map. If this isn't a sign for things to come, I don't know what is. Okay, after an hour and 6 minutes on that map, we have Hinata, and we are in go mode. So now, it is high time for me that I close my shutters. Trust and believe in Hinata, always. Never doubt him, even for a second. I'm gonna stand up, I'm gonna close my shutters, but I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be here. If this isn't the craziest start to a Hinata run that I have ever seen in my life, I have not seen many Hinata runs, granted. But if this isn't it, then I don't know what ever will be. Not going to lie. Holy shit. Wow. Yeah, I'm flabbergasted. I truly expected that I would have to take 4 rounds of combat, maybe even 5, against Zola. I would have to keep dodging 15%. But holy fucking shit. 4% crit, what a thrill. What a thrill. And this is why Hinata is the GOAT. This is why he is the undisputed GOAT of Fire Emblem Fates. Alright. So, that being said, that is the hardest part of the run done. From this point onward, the mid-game is really easy. Once we get into the swing of things. At the very least, it was with Master Ninja. Now with Swordmaster, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, of course. Since we are looking at a class that is locked to, of course, swords. One range, mostly. Of course, there is the Parasol. There are the Kodachi and the Wakizashi. The Kodachi we can get at this point, the Wakizashi, no. Ideally, I think I keep the beans, to be honest. So I'm going to keep feeding Lilith Daikon, which she's going to have to love. God Nata, Win Nata, whatever you want to call him, that is him. He is actually him. Goat Nata, yeah. We can keep coming up with more, I'm sure. Okay, with more res, and we get gold bars from Lilith. If you feed Lilith 3 times, you get a gold bar. And the gold bar is worth, I think, 300 gold. 300 or 500. I think it's 300. Fates of the House of Fanboy. A question. Wouldn't it be better to reset until you got a castle with a pearl mine? Oh, undoubtedly. Undoubtedly. But by this point, we're too far in. See, here's the thing. It's not too bad to get by without the pearls. Because once we get the arena, we can gamble the pearls and get more of them. Also, if we accumulate enough quartz, at the smithy, we can exchange the quartz for a different mineral. We're going to have quartz in abundance, so that is still a feasible option. And speaking of, I think we have access to the arena now. We also have access to the Aoi statue and the Hinata statue, which are both entirely necessary for this run, actually. So that's the Aoi statue, and of course the Goat Nata, the Win Nata, God Nata statue. There it is. So, we have options. The prison is pretty fucking useless, since we're not going to be capturing anyone, so the prison is literally useless. Accessory shop we're going to have to get access to at a certain point for an accessory that I want, but aside from that, not useful. Dawn Dragon is only useful for castle defense maps, so I think it's going to have to be the mess hall or the arena. Now, honestly, since this first part is mostly just going to be... It's mostly going to be grinding, I think, in scout maps and in Paralog 1. Paralog 1 is going to be pretty useful. I think I want to just go for the arena, see if I can get more pearls. The mess hall is not really necessary yet. So let's get the arena. And let's go gamble our pearl. Let's go gamble our singular pearl with Hayato. Oh, I don't love that, to be completely honest. The accessory shop is good to raise support quickly, yes, but I don't think I want to invest in that right now. Okay, do we trust in Hayato enough to gamble our one and only pearl? Do we trust Hayato enough for this? Actually, can we guarantee that we don't lose all of our pearls? Okay, we have the ore swap. We need 5 quartz, though. We need 5 quartz for 1 pearl. So we actually cannot guarantee. Apparently, no one trusts Hayato to win the arena battle, so I don't think we're going to go through with the arena battle just yet. Okay, that's fine. Evil Child, but with the voice actor of Caspar from 3 Houses, and I fucking love Caspar from 3 Houses. Actually, did you know that Hayato and Saizo have the same voice actor. And by extension, Hayato, Caspar, Lawrence, and Saizo all have the same voice actor, Bandiskin. Bandiskin is an absolute unit of a guy, as far as voice range is concerned. It is insane. But okay, let's see. So here's the thing. What we have now is not much else. We have, of course, healing items. Now, the useful thing now is that we don't actually have to bring anyone else from this point onward. So we can store all for everyone that is not Hinata, that is not Aoi. So we're gonna have weapons, vulneraries aplenty, that we can either sell or use in the case of the vulneraries. And I just stashed away all of Hinata's stuff. That's my bad. I was just going on autopilot, not gonna lie. We're gonna give it back. Items, we're gonna give back the Armor Slayer, Iron Katana, Steel Katana. And he had a concoction, so he did not have a concoction, he had a vulnerary. Okay, so here's the thing. We have a few things to do. We have to first and foremost determine what skills we want Hinata to get. Now, the skills that I ran on Hinata last time going into the final map, which served me pretty well, I'm going to actually have to look into that real quick. So the nice thing about this stream specifically, is that, you know, you have music while I'm tabbed out. So let me actually look back at my own Hinata solo stream run, the first one. And let me see what skills I want to do the endgame with. I'm pretty sure that one of them was Astra, which is just on the Swordmaster class, obviously. So that is useful. The grand finale, let's see. We're gonna quickly have a look at what I brought here. This is, let's see, the final stretch. Okay, here we go. So what did I bring? I brought, okay, so I had Vantage, Lethality, Shuriken Fair, Astra, and Duelist's Blow. Now that's very convenient, of course. I don't need to tell you why. I actually am going to tell you why. Two of those skills are inherently on the Samurai/Swordmaster class. In fact, Hinata starts with them. Vantage and Duelist's Blow. And Astra he's going to get from being a Swordmaster. So, there's the thing. We don't have to do that much grinding for those. Lethality would be cool. We would need Master Ninja for that, which I'm not entirely sure if I want to go for that currently. But Swordfair would be very useful, though I'm fairly certain that's also on Swordmaster, so we're not going to actually need to do that much early game. And in fact, just S-ranking Aoi may be worth our trouble. I'm not going to lie. Since if we get the Berserker skills, that is, well, that's X-Fair for one. I think it also gets you access to Hero, since you get the promoted classes from Fighter. So yeah, that gives access to Soul. Soul, unironically, is something that would have been very, very useful in the last Hinata run. Of course, since Master Ninja is just such a cracked class, I didn't really need Soul in the end. But for this one, it might unironically be worth considering. Because here's the thing, what else are we going to get otherwise? We would have to lean towards Master Ninja again, probably. For things like Lethality. Well, primarily Lethality. Nor classes we don't really have access to otherwise, only through Aoi. Only through Aoi's talent, because Hinata does not have a support with Silas, and the only other Nor unit we get, technically, is Scarlet, and she's of course a Corrin sexual, so we cannot support those two. As ranking Aoi gives plus 5 HP, Soul, Axe Fair, and Axe Breaker. Thank you for that, Carbol, very much appreciated. Which are, of course, the skills from the Hero and the Berserker classes. And from Fighter. I mean, plus 5 HP is from Fighter. But let's have a little look at what other options we have. So, as far as support options go for Hinata, there's Azura, there's Hinoka, which both end up with Pegasus Knight, Kinshi Knight, Falcon Knight. Falcon Knight is not per se useful, Kinshi Knight is useful. But here's the thing, we can also get Kinshi Knight from Friendship supporting with Takumi. Takumi is also a very good option for this. Kinshi Knight we're definitely going to need later on in the run, and having air superiority or just having a flying class to begin with is just very useful. Obro or Orochi for Rend Heaven and Quixotic are certainly options too. Yeah, for sure. Spearfighter also gives sealed defense, which honestly is not that bad if we want to ramp up our attack in the future. So those are contestants. We have to decide about this pretty decently soon-ish, because once this gets rolling, it gets rolling really fast. So we just got the C support with Hinata here. I mean, we've all seen this, but like, this is perhaps one of the most peak supports ever, and it's purely because Hinata is here. But yeah, now Aoi finally knows who Hinata is, so they finally start talking. Hinata is the most enthusiastic about his training in the entire camp. And Aoi has the gall, the absolute audacity to suggest that he's doing it to compensate for something. Because she heard a rumor that he's more fond of relaxing than training, which is absolutely crazy to say. This is the most useful guy in the camp, and you have the audacity to suggest that he naps more than he trains. It's absolutely insane. But yeah, it's not true, obviously. It's not true, obviously. But yeah, he's gonna work his butt off. And he's definitely not compensating for anything. Don't worry about it. Really, do not worry about it. And now we're gonna spar. Oh, we're gonna spar, alright. We're gonna spar. Hinata's gonna be in the private quarters. We're gonna spar. You bet. Now, we might as well get these other supports. They don't really matter, but I don't like having the blinking exclamation point. So we're just gonna pop all of these that we can. Except for the useless ones, of course. We're gonna leave that one hanging for a little bit. Hana and Silas. We're gonna have Tsubaki and Hinoka. And Orochi and Saizo. Orochi and Kaze, actually. Saizo and who? Kaze. Okay, fair enough. We can do that. They're twins. We can have them support. That's fine. But okay, there we go. So that is most of the preparation we can do. Again, we can have a look at the Dawn Armory.
Please, take your time.
And we can start selling stuff. So let's see. Okay, so that's the stuff that Aoi is carrying currently. Now, there are things that we can sell, obviously, if we are ever tight for money, which currently we are not. Especially like the magic we can sell pretty easily, because none of our guys are going to use that. Having the Kodachi is not too bad of a thing. You can actually forge it as well, which would be pretty useful to have. For that, we need more pearls, though. So I think that's what we're going to start working towards. I'm going to buy 2 of these. Since Silas is on duty, the swords are discounted as well, which is just useful. So let's do that, and let's get another iron katana for, hopefully for forging as well. But actually, do I already... I have an iron katana. Yeah. So I can forge those eventually. Many thanks. All archer skills are amazing, that's true. I mean, the archer skills are fantastic. I mean, quick draw, you have certain blow from sniper as well. Yeah, Kinshi Knight, the plus 20 hit and avoid, which is air superiority against flying units, which there are going to be a lot of in late game. There is a lot. Takumi or Tsubaki, they were my primary friendship candidates for Hinata during the original Hinata solo run, and it ended up being Takumi, because I figured having the skills from Sniper is much more valuable than having the skills from Falcon Knight, which I still stand by that decision, actually. But okay, let's see. So let's actually see how much it costs to forge an iron katana, or to forge anything. Okay, so actually it only takes 1 pearl, so that's actually pretty useful. And I presume it is the same for the Kodachi once we actually give it to Hinata. So let's get a Kodachi, and let's see how much that is. I'm pretty sure it should be the same cost. Yeah, it is. So essentially, we're just gonna we're gonna want to get a lot of pearls. And for that, we need to keep coming back to the castle so we can keep refilling the quartz pond for 1, so we can exchange for pearls, and so we can actually gamble with the pearls in the arena as well. So really what I think we're going to do is we're going to go to Paralog 1, and we're going to just try to boost Aoi and Hinata's support rank. I think that's the first thing we're going to do. Yeah. I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to get Motsu, of course. It would be sad to let her die, even though I don't really like Motsu that much, to be completely honest. But she is useful, she has stuff, so... Now here's the thing. The game does not have the goat selected, but we are going to bring only him and Aoi, in fact. So I'm going to put him up as far away as possible. And I think in my previous run I managed to get there barely on time because I had extra movement due to Kagero being Hinata's pair-up unit. Ninjas give +1 movement when paired up with someone. Magic Hinata solo. I have unironically considered a Magic Hinata solo. However, I need to really plan that out if I'm going to do that. With the friendship with Kaden, obviously. But if I'm going to do that, I'm really going to have to plan that out on forehand. And I think these melee classes are a bit easier to do just spontaneously, hopefully. But okay, let's see what we can do. Motsu is there. Motsu will be safe for a little bit. But the Faceless are going to start moving soon enough. So the Armor Slayer is good. The Armor Slayer actually has me take less damage. Because what the katana weapons also do, to balance them out, to make them distinct from the regular swords that you see across the Fire Emblem franchise, which the Norian side of the game represents, the Hoshiden weapons, most of them, the katana specifically, they inflict -1 defense and res, but they give +1 speed. And then if they're steel weapons, yeah, they still do -3 effective speed, but the weapon itself gives +1 raw speed. And there's a bunch of different effects for the Hoshiden weapons like this. But we're gonna go rocking out with the Armor Slayer, I guess then, to take just as little damage as possible. And yeah, be prepared to see a lot of these guys, a lot of these Faceless. Because, holy shit, there is a ton of these guys in this game. And it gets really obnoxious at a certain point, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, as you can see, even on enemy phase, we are able to one round the Faceless with the Hinata Aoi combo, so that's just useful. Yeah, Birthright does love its Faceless. No one else loves its Faceless, but the game itself certainly does. Okay, Vulnerary, and we're good to go another round. Yeah, at least there won't be the eternal stairway from Conquest, because holy shit, that map is toxic as hell. Especially once the Faceless reinforcements come in with the Void Curse, so you get no EXP in a game where you're already pressed for EXP. It's absolutely insane. In general, Conquest is so much more challenging than Birthright. Because Birthright, like I said, it really depends on enemy spam for its difficulty. While Conquest genuinely has some really interesting concepts for maps and for enemy design and such. Like once you start looking even at the generic Faceless in Conquest, they start having skills like exactly like Void Curse, you don't get EXP. They start exploding in the final map as well. Which I'm pretty sure is like, it's only on the highest difficulty on Lunatic potentially. Okay, let's see. I think it's this Faceless that's going from Motsu. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So on the next turn, he's able to get to Motsu, which I think I'm going to forego. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I'm going to forego killing this Faceless right now in favor of getting Motsu, I think. She does have the Vulnerary and another Naginata to sell, so I think I want to get her purely for that. Let's check if that's actually the case. Yeah, they are able to target Motsu, but if I get there fast enough, I can talk and I can recruit Motsu, and now I can switch back. And Hinata is ready to go for another round. Okay, there you go. And Motsu can just hide out in the forest and give her better Vulnerary to Hinata. So in this way, we're able to save Motsu and still have Hinata do all the heavy lifting. They of course will still try to go for Motsu, but if we're able to move her through the forest kind of cleverly, which I think we can if we take out this Faceless, then yeah, we are going to be just fine. So this map is really just the training arc, the support grinding arc. The faster we get Aoi up to A rank, the better it is for the purpose of this run. Because the pair-up stats are going to be absolutely ludicrous once she promotes. And you're going to see that. Faceless would be great if you could have a class that could summon one in the Sacred Stone style. Yeah, like a summoner class, that's true. I mean, that's essentially what Yago was supposed to be, right? Because it is stated in the dialogue of Fates at some point that Yago is able to actually just summon Faceless. So, would it be cool if that was a thing? Maybe on the Norian side. Well, most likely on the Norian side, because we're not going to be having any Hoshidans summoning Faceless, I don't think. They're going to be building puppets, like Yukimura. They're going to be building the automatons. But yeah, I mean, this is also for, I guess, getting, like, weapon rank, but Hinata's already up to weapon rank B, so it is entirely unnecessary for him to grind any more weapon rank. In fact, it might have been more useful to promote him. But, no, I think he's able to get a level up from this map, potentially, once he beats the boss. So we're going to try to benefit from his early stage growth as much as possible. Oh yeah, Leo, that's true. Leo can also summon the Faceless, yeah. In the forest map where you face him, that's true. That is certainly true. So it seems that Norian classes are inherently, the Dark Mages are able to summon or control the Faceless to a certain degree. Interesting implications, but no implications for the gameplay, unfortunately, since the Fates writers did not decide to include that as a gimmick. Which, you hate to see it, but it is what it is. Yeah, no, that's true. Revelation can't even get a proper storyline. I mean, I am maybe asking for a little bit too much. But hey, we love Fates all the same. What it doesn't have in story, it compensates for in gameplay. Doubly so, I would say. Fates gameplay is, in my humble opinion, the best gameplay in the entire franchise. And it's not just because, you know, not just because I'm biased, really not, but I think the weapon triangle is really original in Fates. You essentially have two weapon triangles, where you have a secondary weapon triangle for tomes, daggers, and bows, which are also colored in this game. And I think just the dual stance, dual strike mechanics, which they carried over from Awakening, they're just really fun to use. There's a lot of good things about Fate's gameplay. It's the one salvaging thing, I think, once you really start getting into the nitty-gritty, shall I say. And ASIC, snow shoveling does not dictate the entire quality of this game. We do not talk about the snow shoveling map. That is also exclusive to Revelations, by the way. So, I think we can all agree that Revelations is like the weakest route, so we don't mention that here. We don't mention that. Okay, almost through this map. It's pretty fast, since there's only like 25 Faceless. And we're able to one-round them, every single one, so... Yeah, weapon triangle, skills, infinite reclassing essentially. Infinite level ups as well with the Eternal Seals. Which in practice, you know, doesn't really do much. Unless you're playing Birthright, of course, with infinite EXP, infinite scouts. Now this Faceless is static, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so I can just kind of go over here, use a Vulnerary, and take like, what, 3 Faceless? 2. Okay, that's fine. So he's going to round up all the little guys, all the ones that were able to one round, and then we'll go for the boss, who is really easy to cheese, actually. Since he's a static boss that only has a 1-range weapon, it means you can just kind of keep taking pot shots at him with the 2-range weapon, and he won't do anything back. So, it's very easy. Very easy map, this. It's very easy to lose track of where the Faceless go, though. If you're really gunning to get Motsu, it can be quite difficult. Like, if you don't beeline for Motsu, there's a decent chance that she actually just dies to a Faceless, because her defenses are not good, obviously, even though she is in the forest. I don't think she starts out on a forest tile, even. She starts out on regular ground, which actually really disadvantages her, since her personal skill has her, I believe, heal while on a forest tile. And of course, the forest tiles themselves, as per usual, they give extra avoid. And I think a bit of defense as well, 2 extra defense. But, yeah, no, Fates has a lot of things to love. It really does. It really does. Birthright is perfect for baby's first Fire Emblem. That's true. It certainly is. You play as the undisputed good guys. Lots of maps are very simple, route the enemy objectives. Yeah, that's another thing about Birthright. It is not very original in its map objectives. Basically, every single map in this game, with the exception of, I think, 2 or 3, are route. They're just route. Kill all enemies. And that can cause some exhaustion as well. Also, we have some beautiful dialogue by this boss, by the Faceless boss. It really strikes the heart. It really does. But okay, we are going to just pummel him with the Kodachi. I think it gets me 4 EXP per turn, so per hit, which means I can definitely level up Hinata on this map. Panda, you've heard a lot of good things about Fates, but you've never been able to get into it. Okay, okay. I mean, here's the thing. Getting into Fates is not difficult. It really is not. But, oh yeah, there it is. Unmasked, faceless as well. They're kind of creepy underneath, actually. Kind of freaky as well. Kind of leather mask with chains and such. It's kind of questionable. But getting into Fates is not difficult. Though I guess if you've never played Fire Emblem, then it could be an obstacle, right? It could be an obstacle to get into Fates as well. I can see that, but why not the Parasol? Because I forgot to bring it on Hinata, I'm not gonna lie. Could have just grabbed it from the convoy, but the Kodachi will do just as well. So there we go. Another beautifully spoken line by the faceless boss. Again, it really gets to me every single time, but we had to take him out. We had to take him out. He was a threat. So 20 EXP and strength, skill, luck, resistance. Ooh, that is right. Skill and strength are good. Obviously, we want to get more speed. Having this much luck this early on, this is one of Hinata's staples as well. Having a lot of luck, high luck growth. And getting more resistance is good as well early on. So, not too bad, not too bad. Getting strength is always a very welcome change to see. But okay, that's that. That is Paralog 1, Tragic Start. So now we have Motsu, and if all is right, I think we should have a B support between Hinata and Aoi. We do not, so we have to do one more map, actually. And what we want to do, I think the Quartz Spring refills every evening. So that's actually, we have to wait for 4 periods of the day. Now, that is a little unfortunate, not gonna lie. I did not realize it took that long. We cannot invite Hinata. Who do you guys want to invite instead of Hinata? Personally, and you don't have to take my opinion, right? I would invite Azama. Like, I'm just saying. Azama could be pretty fun. Not gonna lie. But I do not have the opportunity to invite Kaze. Azura is also... Actually, can I? I guess I could invite them, but like... Surely you want to invite one of the guys with the hearts. Azama's my guy, Azama's great, look at that, we love that. Hey, we have some people of culture in this chat right now, you love to see that. Let's get Azama in here, come on. Ready to expand your mind? There he is.
Well, that was a spirited discussion. I'm sorry that you're totally wrong about everything.
Yeah, this fucking guy, bro. This fuck-ass guy. Unironically, a really good melee unit as well. If you reclass him into like a great master, he's awesome. He's awesome. Literal fucking douchebag. So awesome. So real. That's all he is. That's all he is. He's just an asshole. We can part with 1 portion of beans. No, actually, the daikon is just not useful for dishes either, so... I'm just gonna give him a daikon. Okay, Lilith, level 5. And now she should get the remainder of the stats that she didn't get last time, yeah. I'm pretty sure that per 2 levels, she just gets every single stat. So even if you give her the same food twice in a row, it doesn't really matter. Little insider information, I suppose. And let's see, I can upgrade the Aoi statue if I have 3 Dragon Vein points, which I don't. So instead I'm going to get the Mess Hall. Mess Hall is very useful because it allows you to get extra stats from dishes that you can cook with the foodstuffs that you have. So that's going to come in handy later. And aside from that, not really much to do here. Now, I think what I want to do probably is... Actually, the meal could unironically come in handy for the next map, because the next map is kind of tough, not gonna lie. I could forge something for Hinata. I could forge the Kodachi. Which, well, unironically, yeah, I think I should probably do that for the ninja map. The ninja map is terribly, terribly toxic. There are so many ninjas, obviously, in the ninja forest, but it's, yeah. It's insane. You can rotate the buildings. Yes, you didn't know, Carpal? After all these years, we're still learning new things. You can rotate the buildings. Yes, absolutely. Okay, let's see here. Okay, here's a crazy idea, right? What if we gamble one of our quartzes? Do we trust Saizo? Come on, surely we trust Saizo the Fifth. If we gamble on Saizo 1 quartz and we get 2 in return, we can actually exchange it for another pearl. And that would be huge. In Saizo, we fucking trust. Are we locking in on Saizo? Yeah, we trust Saizo. Come on. We got that. Ninja versus ninja. Saizo never loses to another ninja. Come on. He gets doubled. That's fine. He deals 15 damage. He 2 rounds this ninja. Dodges the first hit. Huge. And there it is. Easy clap. Easiest battle of my life. Saizo always pulls through. You love to see that.
Naturally.
That was the only possible outcome. It really was. He is just him. And now at the smithy, we can exchange. Here he is. He got that for himself. But now, with 5 quartz, we can get another pearl. And now we have 2 pearls. Now, what I want to do is I want to forge a Kodachi, to be sure. And we can have a Kodachi +1, which is going to be very useful. It's going to be very useful for the Ninja Forest map, since we are going to have to use a lot of 2 range. And a lot of vulneraries. So we're going to have to remember to buy those a lot as well. So yeah, 2 extra might is really, really consequential, actually. Now, here's the great part about forging weapons. We can give it a name. We can give our Kodachi a name. Now, last time, I believe, the original Hinata solo run, I named the upgraded Kodachi because I had one for this upcoming map as well, the Ninja Bane. Now, admittedly, not the most creative name, but if there is any better name that you guys have, lock it in. Tell me. Also, great call, Essex. Great call to hydrate. It is warm in my room, not gonna lie. But I'm happy that we were able to get past Chapter 9. Not gonna lie, that was the biggest obstacle. The Kaze Killer. I like that. The Kamikaze. Imagine that. I'm not gonna name it Duff Stuff. Thank you for the suggestion, Panda, but that is never going to happen. Make me a weapon designed to bash foes. So yeah, here we're really have to put our thinking caps on here. We're really gonna have to let this sink in for a second. So this is a 2-range, a throwing katana, essentially. I mean, I could just call it the Ninja Bane again. Yo, Lucas! Hello, good evening, welcome. You're just in time to name our epic +1 Kodachi. Mokushu Bane. I like that. That's poetic. That's poetic. Let me see. We can make it even more poetic. Could we ever fit in Bane of Mokushu? Do you think that fits? Ooh, I think it's possible. Hold on. Bane of... Ooh, it's gonna be tight. Hold on. I don't think it fits. Yikes. Yikes. Okay, that's fine. That is okay. Bane of Kotaro? Wait, that's real. That's real. Hold on. Kotaro surely fits. Bane of Kotaro. Okay, hold on. Now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. This is what it's all about. Exactly. Bane of Kotaro. Beautiful suggestion. Okay, we're gonna do that. Because this is exclusively what it's made for, in fact. To actually kill Kotaro. But okay, that being said, do we also upgrade the Iron Katana? Now, if we do that, if we get the Iron Katana +1, I'm decently certain that also gives it +1 might. Which would, I think, bump it up to the same might as a Steel Katana, potentially. I'm gonna actually have to verify that, not gonna lie. It will put it 1 below a Steel Katana, but without the effective speed drop. Which, needless to say, is pretty fucking good, not gonna lie. So I think it's actually worth for the early game to invest in that. We're gonna get more pearls. Actually, I'm going to refrain for now. I think what I want to do is save at least 1 pearl so we always have something to bat in the arena with. So we can always make, earn more pearls. So let's do that. And I think what I want to do, before we start on this ninja map, which we're probably not going to do this stream, we're probably going to do next stream, which, for all of your information, I'm planning to do Fire Emblem streams every Thursday from now on. Because it's been way too long since I did anything Fire Emblem. And after all, this channel is not exclusively Inazuma 11. We have to do more than just Inazuma 11. So, Thursdays are going to be Fire Emblem streams. Tuesdays are going to be Inazuma 11 streams. And that's going to be the distribution from now on. So probably next week, we tackle Chapter 10. For the time being, I'm not sure if I can do the invasion map. Actually, I should be able to. Like, it should be really easy, shouldn't it? Like, let's see. Let's have a little look at the invasion map. Because what I want to do before the ninja map is get the support with Aoi up as far as possible. Which I think B or A should be possible. But let me have a look. So if we take no one except for Hinata and Aoi. Here's the thing. These castle maps are pretty simple in the way that, yeah, you have a bunch of different enemy types, of course, but what you also have is you have a throne. And a throne is absolutely goated as far as defensive terrain goes. We've all seen the Bismix video. This is not a chair, it's a throne. 3 defense, 30 avoid, and 20% healing at the start of every turn. It is insane. So, this is what we're going to do. We're going to just keep Hinata on here, and I'm going to just give him a bunch of vulneraries. Well, we always have access to the convoy, so we're going to just take the vulneraries, and we're going to just run with them. And I think just rocking out with the steel katana should be fine. So let's see how far we can get with just this. Now, the enemies are all going to try to target buildings in my castle, and they're going to break them. And that is fine. I think what I do is maybe I actually just use the Armor Slayer, you know? Armor Slayer has been serving us well so far. So this should just be our turns. They're going to break all of the buildings first. They actually do give us stats, I think, in these Castle Defend maps. Lilith is going to get 2-rounded, because Lilith actually cannot attack in Birthright. In Conquest and Revelation, she has access to an attack. But in Birthright, she only heals, which makes her, well, considerably less useful, but of course still useful to distract enemies sometimes. But okay. Yeah, and from this point onward, what's going to happen is all of these units, all of these enemies, they're going to bunch up around Hinata on his throne. And Hinata is just going to take them face on. Like, just like that. So we got the Kodachi for ranged. Yeah, we got the Armor Slayer for regular damage for now. Until we get probably a higher forged, Iron Katana. And then the Steel Katana for high risk, high reward. Absolutely. Iron Katana is gonna phase out the Armor Slayer at some point. And in fact, I think once we get to, for example, better weapons like the Dual Katana, we also got, hopefully, the Sunrise Katana at some point. Sunrise Katana is going to be for Avoid, of course. For Avoid tanking, I suppose, dodge tanking. Now, Hinata, in fact, is so powerful that these enemies are not even attacking him. So this is also a common theme that I saw in the original Hinata solo run. Once you get on these invasion maps, the enemies don't really attack because Hinata has like too much defense, or they just don't deal damage. Like, they just deal 0 damage. So it's very easy to just sit here and do nothing, or just take them out one by one. Okay, little buffer. That's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's loading in the HD textures, so be not afraid of this when it zooms in like that and it buffers for a second. But yeah, this is just a free map. It's always a free map. The only units apparently doing damage are the fighters, which they have 13% hit rate, so I'm not really scared of those, to be completely honest. And we're going to just be collecting 1 EXP for every kill here. Now, obviously, these are all going to be the exact same outcome, so I'm not going to bore you with all of that. I'm just going to skip to the end of the phase, and we're going to just be taking out these units one by one. Honestly, considering equipping the Yato on Korin instead of the Dragonstone to save a little bit of time, every time the transformation animation procs, it takes up some time. So let's see. If I give her the Yato instead, yeah, that's better. Okay, so let's take out this Cavalier. When will we promote Hinata? Well, probably sooner than you think. Because I'm pretty sure it is necessary for me to promote Hinata on the boat map. which the boat map... Oh, this is the boss, by the way. 23% hit rate, 12 attack. Let's get wild! There it is. There is my fucking goat. 2% crit. He's just insane. He's just insane. Again, if this isn't the best start to a Hinata solo run you have ever seen, then, I don't know, your standards are incredibly high. Holy fucking shit. Wild Nata, Goat Nata, God Nata, whatever you want to call him, man. Everything fits. Yeah, should definitely be able to reach beast support through this this invasion map, because this is like the easiest map of my life. Like, none of these guys are dealing damage. Good old classic Hinata. And every single round of combat that we do, it does give some support. Some support rank building, so... Yeah, none of the Wyvern Knights are even attacking Hinata, they just have 0 on everything. Of course, the 0 hit rate is because of Duelist's Blow, because of us initiating, but still it's a beautiful sight to see. We've not seen a unit this goated since Mika no Hoshi, it's true. And another great crossover between Inazuma 11 Victory Road and Fire Emblem Fates. Man, if Mika no Hoshi was in Fire Emblem, bro, she would solo. She would solo every single map. Easy. But okay. And then we have the last sad little soldier right here, who's gonna meet his fate. By a weapon from his own realm, the good old trusty Armor Slayer. And there it is. Okay. So that should be more than enough to get the B rank on Aoi and Hinata. It also gets us 2 Dragon Vein points, so we can actually get the accessory shop and most likely the Dawn Dragon, since again the prison is just really not useful. We also can upgrade the Hinata statue. The statues, by the way, the statues allow a certain unit's stats to go past a threshold, a max threshold. So, for example, if Hinata's cap for speed is 30, with the Hinata statue, depending on the level, it can go up to 31, 32, 33. Pretty sure that for the avatar, for Korn, it also applies to support units, like A+ and S rank units, but I'm not entirely certain about that. But anyway, we're getting the accessory shop, and I think we're just gonna plonk it down right here, why not? Actually, this is not very satisfying for my my OCD in this phase of the game, not gonna lie. I need all the shops together, and I need all the utility stuff together. So I'm gonna bring the lottery shop over to the arena and the smithy, and then the accessory shop's gonna go at the end here. Boom. This is what we love to see. Okay, so we get Daikon. Daikon is good. We can give more Daikon to Lilith. Lilith is gonna love all this Daikon. Hey, look at this. More Daikon. Beautiful. Bronze only that character, silver support partners too, gold everyone. Yeah, so that applies to the statues depending on the different ranks. There's 3 ranks, bronze, silver, gold. Lucas has very helpfully pointed out that, yeah, for silver, it applies to support partners too, the boost to the max stat cap, and at the gold rank, the final rank of the statue, which costs 9 Dragon Vein points to upgrade to that level, by the way. But it applies to every single unit in your army, so... and let's see. I could also change the My Castle to a different layout, but I like this layout. I like the cherry blossom trees. It's nice. It's like quintessential Birthright, to be honest. Okay, do we trust our Pearl to Mozu? Do we trust our very valuable Pearl to Mozu? Personally, I would say no. I would say, hell nah, we do not trust Mozu with our Pearl. No, no, exactly. Okay, we're seeing a lot of no's in the chat right now. That's fair, that's fair. So we're gonna be holding off on that for a bit. We got the bamboo pole from Kaze. Thank you, Kaze. Very useless. But there it is. There is the B support between Aoi and Hinata. Now, Aoi is the one actually training, running laps, running circles around the practice grounds. Because Aoi epically was beaten by Hinata in a sparring match. It's the most beautiful storyline that you could almost imagine. Yeah, Hinata absolutely wiped the floor with Aoi, apparently. It's great. It's great. And now they find out, hey, both of them are actually pretty hard workers. It's beautiful. And now there's more rumors as well. There's rumors about Aoi too. And now the two are getting so close. They're getting much closer together, actually. But yeah. And now both of them learn that they actually can rely on the rumors. And now they have common ground. But Hinata, being the combative guy that he is, made it into a race immediately. But okay. We're on our way. How goes the soloing? It goes pretty well. We made it past chapter 9, so we have Hinata, and now we're just preparing for chapter 10. Have a forced Kodachi. I'm just trying to get the support rank with Korin up as far as possible. So I think for that purpose, yeah, it's going to be a bit of a slow start. But I think we're going to do some scout maps just to get that support rank up to A. I'm not sure if I'm going to commit to S yet. I'm going to have to deliberate that a bit longer, I think. But A we can certainly do. A we can certainly do before midnight, which is when I'll probably call it. So yeah. Let's keep going for a little bit. Let's keep playing some scout maps. And from these scout maps, actually, we have these sparkly spots, which they can give you good stuff. They can give you EXP, weapon rank EXP. They can give you weapons, drops that you can also get in my castle. So potentially Sunrise Katana. Or you can get minerals, or I'm pretty sure foodstuffs as well. So... But okay, let's see. Select units. No one but Hinata is coming, of course. And now Motsu, actually. Hold on. I need Motsu to store all. Yeah, there you go. And now select units. Boom. So, I want to go up here to see if I can actually get something useful from these sparkly spots. They also can give Seed of Trust. That's true. And Seed of Trust is very useful for upping support rank. If we get that would be huge. If not, it is what it is. Like, nothing lost if we don't get it, to be honest, but... Trying to get it is... It costs nothing. Okay, so this is weapon rank EXP. I can tell from the line, yes. Which, well, it's useless because we're already up at max weapon rank for Hinata, but... It is what it is. Okay, so here's an opportunity, potentially, to check out our forged Kodachi. See what it does against these apothecaries. The Bane of Kotaro. Now, there is going to be this Lance guy that's going to attack us, so probably I'm going to stick with the Armor Slayer for now, also to take less damage against the apothecaries. Yeah. Okay, 4 or 5, it wouldn't really have mattered that much, but he dodges anyway, so that's fine. But I want to take out this guy in one go, even though they're probably very low level, so they're not really a threat anyway. Fun fact, ninja/outlaw bosses and skirmishes have goodies. Yeah, that's true. That's true. In later scout maps, the outlaw ninja bosses, they do actually have droppable stuff, yeah. Stat boosters quite often. I remember there being... okay, so it doesn't quite one-shot this apothecary, but they have high defense, the apothecaries do, so not too upset about that. Yeah, but I remember in the original Hinata solo run, I dropped, I think, like a Speedwing against an adventurer boss, just on a random scout map, which was pretty awesome, needless to say. But... it's really cool, all the little things that Fates does to make these scout maps, like, a little bit more interesting. Of course, scout maps are only a thing in Hoshido, in Birthright. You don't actually get access to scout maps in Nor, you get access to them in Revelation. So in Vala. But in Conquest, you don't get access to them. You're limited to the XP you get on maps, on main story maps, and paralogs, and castle invasions, which makes it considerably more difficult. Okay, we have a ninja here. No damage, but poison strike, potentially? No, not yet. Now the boss is doing some damage. 8 damage on Hinata here. Not too bad. I think I might want to start pulling out... See, there it is. The Bane of Kotaro is already kicking in. We're one-shotting ninjas. Well, random scout map ninja, but hey. A ninja is a ninja. Just one-shot this guy by throwing my sword. Magically manifesting it back into my hand. It's beautiful. I wish Candace was the main character. Panda, never say that shit again, sister. Never say that shit again. You could not pay me... You could not pay me enough money to do anything with Candace whatsoever. Also, hello, Karyu. Good evening. Welcome. Finally able to make it. That's good. Happy to see that. We're going to be going for another roughly half an hour, Karyu. I'm just, we recruited Hinata successfully. Had some insane moments already during this first stream. We've beaten Chapter 9, and now we're just trying to grind support rank between Corrin and Hinata for a potential S rank in the future. But yeah, do one-shot this Apothecary without the pair-up, so that's good. Candace or Duff Dooley? Okay, well then I'm picking Candace, but like, that's like picking between two poisons, you know? So neither is really a good option. But yeah, that is the main part. We have Hinata, exactly. So I'm thinking like 1 or 2 more scout maps, and then we should be able to have the A rank with Aoi and Hinata. Now, a little bit of an annoying thing. Building the accessory shop means that we're going to have characters requesting accessories, which, you know, it also takes up one of the exclamation points that you can get in the My Castle area. Which obviously gets us nothing. Setsuna can get us something. If it's a mineral, that's fine. Peaches. Okay. Well, it's not terrible. Did not have peaches. Yet. Well, I did, actually. I had one already, so pretty useless, not gonna lie. But it is what it is. Oh, we trust Oboro. Certainly we trust Oboro with our valuable pearl. Come on. Come on. We gotta trust Oboro with our pearl. She is certainly capable enough to take care of this. I trust Oboro, actually. Oboro, my girl, you can do it. Yes, exactly. This is the spirit. This is the energy we need. Give Oboro all your energy to get an extra pearl for us. Come on. A Sky Knight, this is the easiest battle of her life. Lock the fuck in. Come on. Okay, she 3 taps this Pegasus Knight. She has 69% hit rate, but she is just that good. She hits all 3. Looks like a win. Just that easy. It's really just that easy.
Looks like a win.
Beautiful. And that is why we trust in Oboro. 2 pearls. So that means that now I can actually reliably forge with Saizo an Iron Katana. Okay, so. Yeah, 8 might, which makes it only 1 point less than the Steel Katana. So it actually, the Steel Katana by this point is useless. Kind of, not gonna lie. Especially since it gives the -3 effective speed penalty. But, okay, I have to give this guy a name as well. Now, here's a proposition. I'm gonna call this one. We don't have Hinata's Katana yet. So I'm gonna call this Forged Iron Katana Hisamaru. Which is what Hinata calls his own katana, the one he has slung over his shoulder up there. As is revealed in his support with Hisame. I'm decently certain that Hisame is also named after Hisamaru. But, yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. Alright. Hisamaru, +1. Beautiful. So there we go. We have a Forged Iron Katana and a Forged Kodachi. So now we are pretty well equipped to go into the next map, I think. We just need to buy a ton of vulneraries. And we're gonna drop the Steel Katana, since I don't think it's that useful anymore. Instead, we're bringing the Parasol. Are we bringing the Parasol? I can bring it for the funny, I guess. We have plenty of vulneraries to go around in a bit here, so let's see. If we go to the Rod Shop.
Oh, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for coming in. We can sell a gold bar, 300 gold. We can sell some Festals and like staves. We're not going to use them, since Fuyumi... I keep going back to Fuyumi. Fuyumi was the original, the Corrin from the original Hinata solo run. Aoi cannot use any staves. And Hinata cannot heal himself, obviously. So, I think we're just gonna sell all the Festals. Okay, there we go. And I think the magic as well. Like, we're realistically never going to be using the magic. The bows I can still see a use for. The shurikens maybe too. And the axes and such certainly, so. Up to 6,000 gold, which means that we can buy 20 vulneraries, in theory. I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do is buy tonics. Tonics will be very necessary for the next map, actually. So I'm gonna get tonics of every type, except for magic. I don't need magic, obviously. But I need strength, skill, I need speed, defense, certainly, resistance as well. There's a lot of onmyojis, not onmyojis, but diviners. And don't get a luck tonic, sure. And I think then we can spend the rest on vulneraries. So let me actually just get like 10 more vulneraries. Boom. There we go. With that, I think we should be set for the next map, to be sure. That is thorough preparation. That's what we love to see. What's the planned end class for Hinata this time around? Karyu, the end planned class for this run will be Swordmaster. This will be a Swordmaster only run, which means that for the main story maps, Hinata can exclusively initiate combat if he is in the Samurai or Swordmaster class. And that's going to be the gimmick for this run. It is a bit of a tame way to get myself back into Fire Emblem gameplay, since it has been a long time. But please let me invite Hinata. Okay, we can invite Saizo with a little heart, so that's the second best option. So let's go for that. Easy decision. Look at this man. Look at this man.
It seemed completely pointless, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
Completely pointless for you, maybe. For you. But for me, oh. Saizo, he doesn't know. If only he knew. Maybe log back into Fire Emblem Heroes? Luca, I would rather cut off all my limbs, I think, than play Fire Emblem Heroes in the current state of the game. That may be a bit dramatic, but it is... I have not played Heroes in a solid month, and I have never felt better, actually. I don't feel pressure to play the game, to open the game at least half an hour every day. I don't feel pressure to grind for orbs for a unit that I like, but... You know what? I can just do other things. I have so many time left over. It's insane. Okay, we can build the prison. It's like, again, it's pretty useless, but like we might as well get it. So let's just, you know, the prison is actually, it's kind of funny. We can just kind of plop it down here, and invaders will actually try to go for it, I'm pretty sure. So we can just have it right there. Okay. So save that. That's pretty good progress. And then let's do one more challenge. I think potentially the challenge is able to get us up to support rank A. Granted, there are enough units. There's 8 units. Okay, that's not a whole lot, but it's not terrible. Let's see. Yeah, Hinata has everything he needs, so let's pair up, swap, and honestly, there's no real reason why I shouldn't stay in the healing zone right here. If these guys move... They don't. Okay, well, if I bait them out, I can go back to the healing zone and I can just kind of bait them through the wall, potentially. So let me see. If I just stand here. Let's see, what happens if I just stand here? Not much. The ninjas do no damage to Hinata. Plus, if they do... Okay, they have Poison Strike, so that's a bit of an issue. I will have to go back... They have special weapons now too, Sting Shuriken and such. Yeah, they are starting to do damage now because of the Shuriken debuffs. But at least not all of them have Poison Strike, so that's good. But I will retreat back to the healing space, obviously. I will get into choke point range with the heal tiles, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm just going to go back here, and I'm going to get into the one spot that I can reach that heals me, but that also allows me to block off all of the ninjas. Then again, I might not even need to go that far back, to be completely honest. Like, looking at where we are currently, everyone's just kind of being too rounded, so do I even need to go to the healing space? Okay. Yeah, no, it's going pretty solid so far. I'm pretty happy with the progress that we made in this first stream. I'm also just happy that the stream has been going, you know, it's been going well. It's been peaceful. It's been a nice little peaceful stream. Nice opportunity for me to pick up Fire Emblem Fates again. My favorite Fire Emblem game of all time. I have an excuse to play it again. Look at that Barb Shuriken with the 16% crit rate. Ugh. That stuff's gonna get scary in the future. So what we really want is, yeah, we want that Sunrise Katana. Ideally. Now, what I also need to look out for is any sparkly spots on this map. There's one right there. I think there's one in, like, the bottom left corner. Yeah, so I'm not going to be able to get there, I don't think. But I am able to get the other sparkly spots to see if there's anything there. The day Hinata gets anything is the same day Rune gets literally anything beyond the proverbial middle finger. Look, Hinata already got something, and that's honestly more than I ever expected. Like, the fact that they gave Hinata an ult in Fire Emblem Heroes, that is insane to me. Like, I really did not expect him to give Hinata jack shit at any point in time. And then he just goes out and gets one of the most banger ults in the entire game. Yeah, it's beautiful. This is exactly what Hinata deserves, actually. Groom Hinata is still the best thing that happened in Fire Emblem Heroes by a landslide to date. Fates, will you play Shadows if Hinata appears? See, now we're asking the difficult questions. Now we're asking the very difficult questions. They weren't able to tempt me with Squirrel Yunaka, which she is really cute, to be fair. They might be able to tempt me with Hinata, but we all know got Lapis. Okay, that's a new mineral that is potentially useful for something. It will certainly be useful to gamble and potentially exchange for a different mineral. So let's see. There's a Barb Shuriken. Steel Shuriken, Sting Shuriken. Okay. So I'm not really afraid of that. See, if I had had the Steel Katana, I would have been able to one-shot this ninja, but that's fine, I think. Parasol Gaming, ever? We could do a bit of Parasol Gaming, surely. Hold on. Okay, nice little hit with this with the Parasol. It looks so stupid, bro. This is the stupidest thing I've seen in a Fire Emblem game. Except for maybe the pan, the pot, what is it? Frying pan. Or the daikon. The joke weapons in this game are really good though, it needs to be said. Stale bread? Anyone remember stale bread? Pretty huge weapon in Conquest, not gonna lie. Okay, I need to be a little careful not to be too silly, but Hinata should be fine for now. Vantage, and we have the guard stance up, so okay. There goes one parasol kill. Hinata strapping the parasol to his waist is a very entertaining sight, to be sure. Okay, so here's the interesting thing. If I heal Hinata with a vulnerary, he will be at 50% health, which still allows him to proc Vantage. So he's still able to kill both of those ninjas. And he's able to tank this ninja as well. Which this ninja is actually decently scary, since he doubles Hinata. And I think he has Poison Strike. Yeah, so Hinata just needs to be a little lucky, because, you know, there is Vantage. It is not 100% hit rate, but I think it should be enough to just get us through this. Yeah, that's enough. Okay, 92% hit rate, that is certainly enough. And a crit. Here I come! He just fucking yeets the parasol. He yeets the parasol like it was an actual weapon. It's awesome. Okay, and now we got good old trusty Hisamaru. And actually, speaking of, the ninja boss has a Seed of Trust. He actually has a good item that he drops. That's crazy. Okay, Hisamaru, he's gonna do it. Let's go. I have the power of God and anime on my side. There it is. He's done it. Beautiful. And that's all we need to see. 22 EXP from this random ass ninja boss as well. And Seed of Trust is huge. It builds support. It builds support while on a map. Now hopefully it's not necessary for the A rank between Aoi and Hinata. There we go. Okay, so that's the A rank between Aoi and Hinata, which should put us in a really, really good position to start on Chapter 10 next time. And once that gets going, once we have the momentum from beating Chapter 10, Chapter 11, there's a minor roadblock potentially in Chapter, I think it's 12? I think that's the boat map, 12 or 14, I forget. There is that map, which might present some issues, but once we get through there, that's like the most difficult part of the run gone. Until the end game, obviously. But okay, we have another sparring match between Aoi and Hinata. And actually, for the first time, Aoi has the upper hand. She has learned from Hinata's antics. And actually, she lands a clean hit. Hinata has lost. He finally has been beaten. It is what it is. And that means there's talking to do, because Hinata has a reason for working so hard, obviously. Working towards a goal. A goal. Lord Takumi himself. Hinata He has a backstory. People don't like to acknowledge it, but he has a backstory. He's from a warrior family who have served Hoshido for generations. Before he learned to walk, he learned to use a katana, and he's good at it. He's good at what he does. He might not look like it, but he's good at what he does. But yeah, he got absolutely floored by Takumi on the first day of him becoming his retainer. So, yeah. Literally, both of them using katanas. Takumi, who is known as the bow guy, absolutely wiped the floor with Hinata. It's great. It's a great backstory. And now this drives Hinata to get stronger, to keep getting stronger. Hinata, he's a prideful guy, you know? He's a prideful guy. In more ways than one. He wants to get back at Takumi for actually beating him with his own weapon. But yeah, Hinata is not the one-note character that people like to claim he is. Come on, we gotta acknowledge this. We gotta acknowledge our goat. And there we go. There's the A-rank support between Korin, Aoi, and Hinata. Alright, and that is the primary goals for tonight actually just done. We got 2 pieces of quartz. We get a request for an accessory, but we don't have any accessories. We get more peaches from Tsubaki, which, great. We can give Lilith some peaches. We can actually, for a change, not give her daikon. We could give her peaches as a little treat. And yeah, we're gonna probably be doing Sniper Hinata at some point. To get one of the skills that we need. Well, most likely from Kinshi 9 rather than from Sniper, but you never know. But there we go. Another gold bar, more 300 gold. It's been beautiful. It's been beautiful. Another round of Oboro? Could this potentially be too good to be true? Surely not. In Oboro, we trust a second time. Against a Samurai, even easier than against the Sky Knight. Like, come on, lock in. She gets doubled, but look at that damage. 16 damage. And she dodges. Okay. Misses one, that's fine. Because now she hits. She performs when it matters. Oboro Gaming, it is just that easy. This is a guaranteed victory every single time. That is another pearl for us to cash in. So now we have 2 pearls. See, if we keep going like this, if we keep accumulating pearls like this and quartz to exchange for pearls, it should be doable. In the end, what you get distributed is not, it doesn't determine the success or the failure of your run. What really determines it is whether you're able to translate what you have into useful stuff for your run, obviously. And yeah, if you yield in time, you do actually get your bat back in full. Obviously, it is sometimes a little hard to anticipate, especially when you miss like a 90 or an 80% very late into the battle. Now, before we close off, I want to check off the accessory shop. Oh, great. We have a free bath towel. That's great. That's awesome. Well, damn. I should have done this for the towel percent last year on April Fools, rather than the actual towel that you can buy. That is not even a towel, that is just a loincloth. What are we doing? But yeah, this is we're obviously, for obvious reasons, we're not going to equip that. This is okay, so they're just naked. Okay, that's great. So what the bath towel does apparently just strips your units down to their underwear. Okay, so that's great. That is good to know. Let's see. Can I buy anything? Mans is ripped. Hinata is ripped. I've been saying this. Let me see. What can I get? Well, I can get nothing, but there's some funny stuff in here, I guess. There's a kerchief, simple kerchief, flower band, giant hair comb. Like, once we upgrade these, there's going to be some interesting things in here. Pretty sure you can get Ryoma's mask at some point. So, faceless mask, yeah, it's there are interesting things that you can get here. Foxtail, which you actually cannot see in current state, but it is there. Yeah, Cadence Tail. Norpaldron. Medicine Trunk, which is, yeah, it's the thing we were referring to earlier. The wooden trunk, I suppose. There it is. Yeah, there's some interesting things here. And once you get it... We're certainly not getting this shit. And there's the bath towel from the April Fool's video. There it is. There's the bath towel. No, but
Thank you.
I was saying something and I completely forgot. Not gonna lie. I completely forgot where I was going with that. I'm not gonna front. Once we upgrade the accessory shop, and once you get an S rank, that's what I wanted to say. Once you get an S rank, with, I'm decently certain it's with anyone, or it's just with Corn, you get like a free accessory. You can get a free accessory from the accessory shop, which is like a heart pauldron, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. How much money for the armored shell? There is no way you want me to buy the armored shell. Oh, sorry, that's the beret. There's no shot you want me to buy the armored shell. Well, first and foremost, I would need 10 rubies, which is going to be really difficult since I'm not playing Conquest. So I need to find this, or I need to exchange this. I don't even know if I can exchange this for a Norian mineral, to be completely honest. I'm pretty sure I can only get the Hoshidan things. Unless I visit someone else's castle. Someone who has Conquest. And obviously I can't do that in the version of Fire Emblem that I'm playing currently. So I think it's physically impossible to get the armored shell. Yeah, exactly. You could only exchange it in other people's castles. Thank you for confirming, Carbol. So yeah, I can't. I physically can't. I would say you can always bribe me. It is certainly a thing you can do. But it's just, yeah, I can't get it. I physically cannot get it in Birthright. So, bit of a wash, I'm afraid. Hack in 10 rubies? That is, I guess that's a possibility. There's a way with Caden. That's true. Pick up. Yeah, I guess. That's true. That is true. That is an option. There's always the option of hacking it in, I suppose. Cheating, which I would never cheat on my, you know, my totally legit copy of Fire Emblem Fates for the Nintendo 3DS. Keaton also... Well, Keaton has pickup, I guess. What does... Does Caden even... Caden doesn't have that, does he? Now that you mention it? Caden is able to get Norian materials. No, but... Keaton is not able to get... Keaton is not in Birthright, and Caden doesn't get pickup, I'm pretty sure. Keaton, yeah, Caden has Live to Serve, right, Reciprocity, I'm pretty sure it's called. I should know, because I did that one skills quiz with Momo at a certain point. And I remembered a few personal skill names, they're pretty interesting. Reciprocity is what it's called, I think. And yeah, I mean... Also, incidentally... Like, on my original Hinata solo run, right, I got some comments saying like, whoa, you shouldn't talk about pirating the game. Whoa, you're pirating the game? That's crazy. One, I'm not pirating the game because I literally own the game. I have a hard copy of Fire Emblem Fates Birthright. There it is. I even have the whole-ass special edition of the game. So, I think I'm pretty justified in what I'm doing here. But obviously... Yeah, obviously, that comment never bothered me. That's why I'm coming back to this now after like a year and a half of that video going live. But, no, but I think that being said, this is a good point to call it for the night. We're coming up on midnight, for me, personally. But I think that what we did tonight is good. First map took a bit to get through, but Chapter 9 was always going to be the most difficult part, you know? Humble beginnings with Hinata, even getting to Hinata in the first place. Yeah, it was the most difficult part of the run. Now we're gonna get into a bit of a rough stretch where we have to play the Ninja Forest and we have to play the boat map, pretty sure consecutively. So yeah, it's not great, but I think we're properly prepared for next week, for next stream, to tackle those and to see what solutions we can find to beat this with Swordmaster / Samurai Hinata. Yeah, of course I have the special edition, Lucas. Of course I do. I am FatesFanboy for a reason. Fire Emblem Fates YouTuber FatesFanboy owns Fire Emblem Fates Special Edition for the Nintendo 3DS. It's true. It's true. But okay, with that being said, we are prepared for next stream. Next week, Thursday. At the same time, we will pick this up. And we will start on the Ninja Forest, featuring only Hinata and Aoi. We're going to see how far we can get next stream. So yeah... very glad with how this worked out. I hope you all enjoyed this first Fire Emblem Fates stream, and I hope you look forward to more streams to come, because I certainly am running more of these. And like I said, in the future, if this run goes well, then there's room for other Fire Emblem games to be featured as well. I certainly want to return to Thracia at some point, since there's too many people who have not been introduced to that yet. I want to eventually play Fortune's Weave, hopefully, on stream, and maybe I'll return to, like, Engage, Fire Emblem 7. One of those games I've already tried, but there's a lot of potential here, so I wanna keep going with this. Kaze's solo run is not on the table, by the way. Please drop the Kaze solo run. But okay, thank you guys so much for joining. I'm gonna be calling it a night here, but I hope you all have a good night yourselves. If you're watching the World Cup, I know Raw is watching the World Cup. Best of luck with Portugal, mate. Yeah, you all take good care, and we'll catch each other next week Thursday when we pick up Fire Emblem Fates Birthright, the Hinata solo run, Swordmaster only. Thank you guys so much. Again, have a good evening, and catch you all next week Thursday. Goodbye, everyone.